bless Nigeria. So in the chat room, please can you just type in God bless Nigeria. God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And I hope we stood at attention virtually during the anthem. I hope that happened at your end. Without further ado, I want to welcome. Yes, I see the chats coming in. God bless Nigeria. I want to welcome the National Director and CEO of Sickle Cell Foundation Nigeria. But before she comes up, I want to kindly read her profile. Endurance, please, can we have it up, please? Thank you. Endurance. Endurance, okay, thank you very much. Can we have it on the main screen, please? All right, thank you very much. Dr. Annette Ofuni-Akinshete has been the CEO, National Director of Sickle Cell Foundation Nigeria since 2013, where she continues to propel successful, innovative strategies for the prevention, management, care, and support of sickle cell disorder through inter alia public-private partnerships, arts in medicine, and family support systems. Annette Akinshete is a woman of many parts. She is inter alia a consultant public health physician, an astute administrator, a teacher, and a broadcaster, a distinguished fellow of the National Postgraduate Medical College of Nigeria. She was director in the Public Health Department of the Federal Ministry of Health for many years, where she was known as the leader of leaders, and has represented the federal government of Nigeria at several multilateral and bilateral engagements all over the world. As a public health physician, Akinshete has worked in every level of government in Nigeria, from local, state to federal levels, at global level. She has contributed to World Health Organization publications on non-communicable diseases, served as WHO Fellow in Geneva, and as United Nations Cares Facilitator at the United Nations headquarters in New York. Dr. Akinshete, who is a member of several professional societies and a commissioner of the Nigerian NCDI Poverty Commission, is also an adjunct lecturer at the Eco University of Medicine and a member of the board of the University of Ibadan Research Foundation. She is a key resource person for the West African Health Organization and represents Women's Board at the United Nations. She's a chartered management consultant and a recipient of numerous awards. Akinshete continues to be involved in the formation of young girls as a brownie O. Her qualifications, it's just beyond what a document can contain. So ladies and gentlemen, please, pleasure, please can we welcome the National Director and CEO, Sickle Cell Foundation Nigeria, Dr. Annette Akinshete, for her welcome address. You can put the clap emoji in the chat room. Thank you so much. It's coming in, show some love, show some love.
Thank you, Caleb. Thank you for that introduction. I told you to make it short.
That was the shortest I could do.
Time, yeah? Thank you so much. So very quickly, my job is simple. It's just to welcome everyone to this very, very, very epoch-making event. So my address is succinct, but I wanted to touch on many things. So chairman and members of the board of Sickle Cell Foundation Nigeria, our esteemed global panelists, representatives of government, international organizations, development partners and professional associations, healthcare professionals, researchers and academics, leaders of patient advocacy and community-based organizations, sickle cell warriors and champions living with sickle cell disorder and their families, members of the media, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this epoch-making moment of convergence. It's a transcontinental conversation we're having here today, where silence will be disrupted with what I've called resilience, defiance, and the truth. Our theme today, beyond survival, thriving with sickle cell, thriving with sickle cell. It echoes the words of the renowned poet Maya Angelou, who said, "My mission in life is not merely to survive, but to thrive." I've always had that in my mind. Every so often I say to myself, my mission in life is not merely to survive, but to thrive. Every so often in Nigeria, we feel we're just surviving, but we must go over and above that and thrive. This theme is both timely and transformative. For decades, the conversation around sickle cell disorder has largely centered on survival, surviving childhood. We survive painful crisis. We survive infections. We survive complications. And for many families, just simply surviving one day at a time. While improving survival remains critical for sickle cell warriors, we have reached a point where we must ask a more ambitious question. Is survival enough? Is survival enough? And the answer is clearly no. People living with sickle cell disorder deserve much more than merely existing. They deserve the opportunity to thrive, to pursue education without interruption, to build meaningful careers, to enjoy fulfilling relationships, to access quality healthcare, to protect their mental well-being, to raise families, to contribute meaningfully to society, to live with dignity, respect, and with purpose. Let's talk a bit about thriving. Thriving means we are shifting our mindset from managing disease to maximizing potential. We all have potentials. We need to maximize our potentials. It means seeing individuals living with sickle cell disorder, not through the lens of limitation, but through the lens of living possibilities. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, this transformation cannot happen through medical care alone. It requires collaboration among healthcare providers, policymakers, educators, employers, researchers, advocates, families and communities, and so on. It requires us to dismantle myths and stigma and discrimination around sickle cell. It requires improved access to comprehensive care, equitable health policies, and environments where individuals living with sickle cell disorder can flourish and also thrive. Today's distinguished panel has been carefully assembled to explore these issues from the perspectives of those who know where the shoe pinches. Uniquely, all our speakers and all our panelists are sickle cell warriors from various parts of the world. Together, they will examine what thriving truly means for people living with sickle cell disorder across different stages of life, the role of comprehensive multidisciplinary care in improving quality of life, advances in treatment and emerging therapies, and how this affects us in the community, the importance of mental health, psychosocial support and resilience, education, employment, workplace inclusion, and how we can remove barriers to opportunities, the role of families and caregivers and patient advocates and support networks in enabling success. The policy, the financing of health system changes, these are needed to ensure that thriving is the expectation rather than the exception. They will also examine how people living with sickle cell disorder can be empowered to lead a healthy, productive, and meaningful life. Ladies and gentlemen, these are not merely topics for discussion. They are priorities for action. I am deeply grateful to our distinguished panelists today, all our speakers, for sharing their expertise, for sharing their experience and their passion. Our panelists and our speakers today, your voices and what you share today will help shape the future of sickle cell and the entire sickle cell community. and also inspire practical solutions that can improve our lives. To everyone joining from across the world beyond Nigeria, thank you for making time to be part of this very important conversation. Your presence demonstrates our shared commitment to changing the sickle cell narrative. At Sickle Cell Foundation Nigeria, we firmly believe that every individual living with sickle cell disorder should have the opportunity not just to thrive, to survive, but to thrive. Our vision is what brings us together here today. I encourage us all to engage actively, to ask questions, to contribute our perspectives, and leave the session not only better informed, but inspired to become agents of positive change. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this unique event. Thank you.
Thank you so much, National Director. We still have people joining, and we have people joining us online because we're streaming this event across our social media platforms on Facebook, Instagram, on YouTube as well. So the numbers we're seeing here, the numbers are climbing. We have 139 persons here now, and I'm sure in the next 20 minutes, we're going to push this number to 200. It's possible. So just as you participate, kindly share, the link across your network as well. The next item on our program is the chairman's opening remark as well from Sickle Cell Foundation Nigeria. The chairman of the board of directors, Chief Tunde Afolabi, for his opening remarks.
I'll have to introduce him if he's here.
Yes, ma'am, please.
If he's already
Yes,
on, I'll introduce him. He's on, I have to introduce him, right? I'll go ahead and introduce our chairman, Caleb.
Endurance, please, can we have the chairman's?
Okay, so our chairman of Sickle Cell Foundation Nigeria is none other than Chief Tunde J. Afolabi, MFR, and he's our chief host for today. Chief Tunde J. Afolabi, MFR, is the chairman of the board of directors at Sickle Cell Foundation Nigeria. He was the founding managing director, CEO of Amni International Petroleum Development Company as far back as 1993, and now he's chairman CEO of that company. He received his BA in geology in 1973 from Franklin and Marshall College, Lancaster, Pennsylvania, USA, and an MSc in geology in 1975.
Sorry, I'm so sorry. The chairman is on. He said he's muted.
Chairman is muted.
Yes,
but I'm introducing him. I'm introducing him.
Okay,
I apologize. Okay, right, that's clear. He started his career with Texaco Incorporated in New Orleans, Louisiana in 1974, and continued with Mobil Incorporated in Dallas, Texas in 1979. He's a professional geologist with well over 40 years of oil and gas exploration and production experience from international and independent oil and gas companies. He is a member of the American Association of Petroleum Geologists, AAPG, a past president of the Nigerian Association of Petroleum Explorationists, NAPE, and a council member of the Nigerian Association of Indigenous Production and Exploration Companies, NIPEC. He was conferred with Doctor of Technology honoris causa by Ladoke Akintola University, Womosho, Osun State, Nigeria, in 2009, and Doctor of Geology honoris causa, Ajayi Crowther University, Oyo, Nigeria, 2017. That is our chairman of Sickle Cell Foundation Nigeria, Chief Tunde J. Afolabi, MFR. Chairman, sir. We'll invite him now to give the opening remarks and to declare this panel discussion formally open.
So you can unmute yourself and video as well.
All right, I'm on.
Loud and clear, sir.
Excellent, thank you. Great, sir. So that's the chairman. We have to focus on him now.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you loud and clear.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry about the issue with electronic gadgetry. I'm not that young anymore to be too versatile with electronics, but here I am, and I will do my utmost best. So, distinguished panelists, esteemed partners, members of the global sickle cell community, ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to welcome you to this important conversation as we commemorate the 2026 World Sickle Cell Day. This year's theme, Beyond Survival, Thriving with Sickle Cell Disorder, challenges us to rethink the future of sickle cell care. For too long, our collective ambition has been measured by survival alone. While reducing mortality remains essential, it is no longer sufficient. The true measure of progress is whether every person living with sickle cell disorder has the opportunity to live a healthy, productive, dignified, and fulfilling life. Achieving this requires a fundamental shift in thinking across Nigeria and indeed across Africa and the world. We must move beyond fragmented interventions towards integrated, patient-centered system of care. We must invest not only in treatment, but also in prevention, continuity of care, rehabilitation, innovation, and long-term all-round well-being. Thriving is only possible when access to quality healthcare is no longer determined by geography or income. It requires functional and well-equipped sickle cell centers and clinics, modern diagnostic and laboratory infrastructure, reliable access to essential medicines, comprehensive newborn screening, affordable bone marrow transplantation, psychosocial support, research, and a health workforce equipped with the specialized knowledge required to manage sickle cell disorder effectively. Equally important is financial protection. No family should be pushed into poverty because a child requires routine sickle cell care. Expanding health insurance coverage, strengthening government financing, subsidizing life-saving medicines, and ensuring equitable access to quality treatment must become national priority. These are not acts of charity. They are investments in human capital, economic productivity, and national development. Innovation must also become central to our response. We have entered an era where advances in diagnostics, digital health, precision medicine, artificial intelligence, and genomics are redefining healthcare delivery across the world. Africa cannot afford to remain on the margins of these advancements. We must build local capacity, strengthen research, collaborations, and create systems that translate scientific discoveries into better outcomes for our people. At the Sickle Cell Foundation of Nigeria, this philosophy has guided our work for over 3 decades. Our integrated health program is deliberately designed to provide comprehensive, lifelong support for people living with sickle cell disorder. Through specialist clinic services, advanced molecular and diagnostic laboratories, genetic counseling, newborn screening, public education, psychosocial support, research, capacity building for healthcare professionals, advocacy, community outreach, and strategic partnerships, we are working to create a continuum of care that enables individuals not merely to survive, but to thrive. Yet, we recognize that no single organization can transform the sickle cell landscape alone. Governments, development partners, healthcare institutions, academia, the private sector, and civil society must work together to build resilient healthcare systems that leave no one behind. As we begin today's discussions, I encourage us to move beyond identified challenges and focus on practical, scalable, and sustainable solutions. Let this conversation generate new partnerships, inspire bold policies, and reinforce our shared commitment to improving the lives of millions of people living with sickle cell disorder across Nigeria, Africa, and the world. On behalf of the Board of Directors of the Sickle Cell Foundation of Nigeria, I thank our distinguished speakers, partners, and participants from all over the world for joining us today. Together, let us build a future where every individual living with sickle cell disorder has not only the chance to survive, but every opportunity to thrive. With these remarks, I hereby declare this virtual panel discussion open. Thank you, and I wish also all of us a productive and impactful discussion. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Chairman. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you for taking your time to come and speak with us and declare this panel discussion open. Thank you very much indeed. We have a couple of goodwill messages, but I'm not sure they are here. I'll find out as we're going along. But to save time, and this will be from the representative of the WR, representative of WHO in Nigeria, Dr. Pavel Osu, the representative of the Commissioner for Lagos, for Ministry of Health, Lagos State, and also the representative of the Federal Ministry of Health. So as the program goes along, as we get along, we'll find out if they're with us and they'll give goodwill messages. But I think right away I'll introduce our moderator, so she can kick off. That will be none other than Dr. Titi Lokwe Fashikwe. She's a moderator extraordinaire. She's done this for eons. She can do it in her sleep. Thank you very much for accepting to do this, Dr. Titi. Dr. Titi Fashikwe is co-director of the Texas Children's Sickle Cell and Thalassemia Program, an assistant professor of pediatrics and hematology oncology at Baylor College of Medicine in Houston. She's very passionate about public health strategies to curb the psychosocial barriers and health complications of individuals living with sickle cell disorder. She's actively involved in various sickle cell focused community and policy health efforts aimed at understanding and addressing these challenges. Dr. Fashikwe has been repeatedly appointed to sickle cell related advisory committees of the Texas Department of State Health Services, and currently she serves on their newborn screening advisory committee and chairs the Sickle Cell Task Force. Her professional memberships include the American Academy of Pediatrics, the Heartland Southwest Sickle Cell Disease Network, the American Society of Hematology, the American Society of Pediatric Hematology Oncology, and the input panel of the NHLBI Cure Sickle Cell Initiative. Dr. Titi Fashikwe has a unique perspective of relating to and understanding the need for education, community awareness, support, and medical care as a pediatric hematologist. as well as an individual living with sickle cell disorder. So Dr. Titi Fashikwe, the stage is yours.
Thank you so much, Dr. Akinshete. Thank you to you. Thank you to Chief Afolabi. Thank you to the entire Sickle Cell Foundation Nigeria for giving me this opportunity. It's quite humbling, and I see it as a great honor. This has been now multiple years, as Dr. Akinshete said, of this beautiful event taking place to recognize World Sickle Cell Day and to give us the time to reflect on the challenges we've overcome, as well as the ongoing accomplishments and successes. So I was incredibly delighted and excited when she told me that this year, each of the panelists and each of the keynote speakers were going to be individuals living with sickle cell disease, warriors, survivors, who were thriving, and to understand what that means to thrive with sickle cell disease. And so I will immediately get us started with the introduction of our two dynamic keynote speakers. And I'll ask the tech team, all you need to do is just spotlight them as I introduce them. I have the bios already. So first, I'm going to start with a good friend of mine, Miss Wumi Bakari. Now, she was diagnosed with the most severe type of sickle cell when she was a baby. But then in 2019, her life changed. She got a successful stem cell transplant through a clinical trial by the National Institutes of Health. But through her lived experience with sickle cell disease and with her post-transplant life, she's been using strategic storytelling and media engagement to change perceptions, to change stigma, the negative parts of sickle cell disease, and allow people to see the beautiful parts. She also emphasizes the importance of culturally responsive care. Because of this, she's become the co-founder of Sickle Cell Prodigy, which is a nonprofit organization. The whole goal is meant to redefine survivorship for individuals living with sickle cell disease in their post-transplant or post-gene therapy life. She's been a pioneering advocate in the rare disease community. Her main platforms include inclusion, challenging negative stigmas, and elevating the patient voice, whether that's in medicine, in media, and in the community. And she's also the founder of WPR Agency, where she provides strategic communications counsel across healthcare, advocacy, and corporate sectors. We're delighted to have her here today. She is an advisor to so many high-level organizations, including the National Heart, Lung, and Blood Institute, Beam Therapeutics, Vertex Pharmaceuticals, Fulcrum, Elevate Impact. The list goes on and on and on. She also holds board positions at Sickle Cell Knowledge and Information Network, the Sickle Cell Disease Coalition, Sickle Cell Disease Partnership, Sickle Cell Uhuru Trust, and the Gift of Adoption Fund. Welcome, Ms. Bakari. Now, before your remarks, I would like to also welcome the second keynote speaker, Ms. Zainab Garba Sani. Ms. Garba Sani is a formidable sickle cell advocate. Currently, she serves as the vice chair of the Sickle Cell Society, and she was recently the founding chair of the NHS England Sickle Cell Transformation Patient Advisory Group. And she's also the co-chair of the Genomics England's Diverse Data Advisory Board. She holds a master's in science and health policy from the Imperial College of London, and she brings extensive experience in healthcare leadership. She served in senior roles with NHS England, TEDx NHS, and NHS Muslim Network. Her contributions have garnered her numerous awards, including the UK Prime Minister's Point of Light Award. She's also been honored with the Stanford-affiliated Research Scholar Program, and she's a UK Commonwealth Fund Senior Harkness Fellow. We are delighted that she's here because she brings expertise in health policy, science, and community-centered practice. And I was amazed to learn that she's also going to kind of take us into this world of artificial intelligence, genomics, and regenerative medicine, and how to use that in a responsible way as we continue to move in the future, not just for our entire society, but with a special note for people living with chronic diseases and rare conditions. So welcome, Ms. Garbasani. And with that, we will kick off with Ms. Bakare. Wumi, it's great to see you. And then after that, we'll follow up with Ms. Garbasani. Also delighted to have you both.
Likewise, Dr. Titi, what an introduction, but an introduction done by an equally formidable force in the sickle cell space. So first and foremost, I want to start by saying good afternoon to all. Good morning. It's 6 a.m. in Seattle, but I'm incredibly happy to be here with you guys today. And thank you for joining us to commemorate World Sickle Cell Day at the end of June. What a really fantastic way to close out the month of June. Now, I'm incredibly honored to share this space with each of you, because if you look around you, sickle cell disease is what's connecting all of us here today. Now, before I say anything else, I want us to do something together. If you are a warrior living with sickle cell disease, or if you are a parent or a loved one of someone living with sickle cell, I want you to put a red heart emoji in the chat right now. It's only going to take a minute, so put in all your red hearts so we can see. Now, just look at all those hearts. Look at how many of us there are. Hold on to that feeling for the next 20 minutes, because more than anything else, I want you to know that you're not alone and you have never been alone in this fight. Now, to the warriors who have refused to let sickle cell disease define them, I see you. To the warriors we have lost along the way, we honor you and we carry you with us today. To the parents, siblings, and friends who hold us on our darkest days, I thank you. To the doctors, the nurses, the healthcare workers who treat us with compassion and care, I appreciate you. And to the researchers, scientists, and organizations pushing the boundaries of what's possible for our future, I salute you. My name is Wumi Bakare, and I am a sickle cell warrior and transplant survivor. I'm also the co-founder of Sickle Cell Prodigy, an organization that I started with my mother to walk alongside patients who are navigating curative treatments like bone marrow transplant and gene therapy. Now, one thing I want us to take a second and think through. Has anyone ever noticed how sickle cell disease has two sides? With one hand, it will punish you, but never without teaching you something. With the other hand, it will break you, but never without rebuilding you into something stronger and greater. This disease has shaped me, it has humbled me, and somehow, against everything I once believed, it has turned me into a vessel for connecting people across Nigeria and across the world. So when I was asked to speak on today's theme, Beyond Survival, Reimagining Life, Possibility, and Purpose with sickle cell, I didn't really have to search very far to know what it meant. It is the literal architecture of all of our lives. And I'm going to share mine in 3 chapters, each one teaching us something that the last one could not. Now I'll start with chapter 1, Reimagining Life. Now, sickle cell disorder is the most common genetic blood disorder in the world, and Nigeria carries the highest burden globally. Yet, for so much of our childhood, it felt like something we were not supposed to talk about, at least not openly and not necessarily honestly. Growing up with sickle cell disease in Nigeria means growing up inside a particular kind of silence. We all know the saying, Naija no dey carry last o, but when it came to sickle cell disease, for many years, we were not leading. Not in awareness, not in infrastructure, not in government funding. We were last in a country that prides itself on never being last. As children, we learned very early what it means to live with uncertainty in our own bodies. A crisis would come without warning. Pain would arrive when you're in the downfall on your way to school, or while you're dancing at your cousin's wedding, or worst, in the middle of the night when NEPA strikes and the room goes dark. And alongside the pain was something just as heavy, the way people judged you, the way your colleagues whispered behind your back, the way some adults treated sickle cell as something shameful, something to hide, rather than something we should try to understand. Many of us were called sicklers. That word carried a quiet history of pain, judgment, and hurt. A word that made us feel smaller, somehow, than the disease itself. But here is where I want us to pause, because this is the heart of what reimagining life actually means. We did not just survive the silence, we rewrote it. As a global sickle cell community, we came together and we trademarked the phrase sickle cell warrior. And in doing so, we reintroduced ourselves to the world on our own terms. We were no longer the word someone else gave us. We became the word we chose for ourselves. I want us to recognize our Niger sister, Tosionla, who actually trademarked the word sickle cell warrior. That's a little history lesson for our young Gen Z warriors who maybe don't know that we actually trademarked that word globally. This is what reimagining life truly means. We have turned our pain into purpose. We have let our purpose become our compass, and our resilience, that very thing that this disease tries to take, has become our superpower. Have you ever heard the saying, pressure builds diamonds? When people would say it around me, I would simply say, I beg, I beg, I beg, I beg, because it seemed like a phrase people said to help us feel empowered. But today, I genuinely believe it in my heart. But I want to add something to it, something I had to learn in my own life. Pressure does not build diamonds on its own. It is what we choose to do under that pressure that determines whether we are crushed by it or reshaped by it, turning into something the world has never seen before. Now, this. I'm going to continue hoping that person. All right, so this is chapter 1 of my story. It's not the chapter where I survived sickle cell disease in Nigeria, but it's the chapter where so many of us in the community began to reimagine what our lives could be. I'll share a short personal story with you all. 10 years ago, I was diagnosed with an infection that by all accounts should have taken my life. For 2 years, I was in and out of the hospital dealing with excruciating sickle cell pain, the kind of pain that makes you question your own existence, the kind that forces you to your knees and fills your mind with thoughts that you never imagined, just praying to God that you make it to the next morning. Knocking on death's door was really my wake-up call. I started researching curative treatment options for sickle cell disease, and I discovered something I did not expect. The more vaso-occlusive pain episodes I had actually made me a good candidate for a stem cell transplant. That discovery changed everything for me. And that leads us to chapter 2 of the story, which I'm titling Reimagining Possibility. There comes a point in every warrior's life when sickle cell stops being something you manage and becomes something that could nearly take your life. The infection I had started in my liver and it didn't stay there. It spread to my lungs, my kidneys, and then my entire bloodstream. I was 27 at the time, stuck in a hospital bed, and my friends were getting married while my family was trying to rearrange their lives around my disease. Now, just by a show of hands, emoji hands, raise your hand if you've ever felt exhausted. The kind of exhaustion that comes when sickle cell steals your moments, your memories, and your milestones. This disease does not just impact the person carrying it, it sends a ripple effect through every life that is connected to our own. And if we're honest with each other, the guilt we carry as warriors can be unbearably heavy. We watch our mothers and fathers sacrifice their livelihoods to keep us alive, their money, their time, and sometimes their happiness. We watch our siblings forced into adulthood too soon because mommy and daddy need to give us more than they have left to give. The saddest part of all of this is watching what this disease has already done to the people we love. And that is exactly what made my decision to pursue transplant feel impossibly heavy for me. Because here is what I need you all to understand. The decision I was facing was never as simple as people assume. From the outside, it looks easy. I'm dealing with sickle cell disease. There's an obvious choice, get a cure, get better, and I move on. But that is not what it feels like from the inside. I wasn't choosing between a cure and nothing. I was choosing between a cure and hydroxyurea, or frequent blood transfusions. I was choosing between an imperfect certainty that I understood, a disease I've had my entire life, and an uncertain transformation that came with risks that no one ever fully explained to me. This is where reimagining possibility actually begins. It's not in some dramatic Nollywood movie moment of clarity, but in the quiet, terrifying work of expanding what you believe is even possible for your own life, when every fact in front of you says it's the safer choice to just stay where you are and live with sickle cell disease. The transplant journey was not just physically difficult, it was disorienting in every sense. I was navigating a foreign healthcare system, advocating for myself in rooms with people who didn't necessarily look like me, and I was carrying the weight of my loved ones and my friends being far away from me at home in Nigeria. When I was stripped of comfort, when I was stripped of uncertainty, when I was holding on to nothing but the possibility of a different life, I arrived at the truth that has shaped everything I have done since. Surviving cannot be the ceiling. It has to be the floor. This realization is what reimagining possibility looks like. It's the moment we stop asking ourselves, will I survive this? And we start asking, what is possible for me beyond simply surviving? Now, that question leads me into my final chapter, chapter 3, reimagining purpose. I will not pretend that the decision to pursue a stem cell transplant was easy, or that the fear I had simply disappeared. It didn't, but I said yes. I said yes to the unknown. I said yes to the risk. I said yes to the possibility of a different life on the other side, because I wanted more than survival. I wanted a better quality of life. And I want to share something with you that I think almost no one tells patients before they go through these cures. A cure is not the end of your story. When we come out on the other side of transplant, no one hands us a map and says, Oga, turn left, turn right. No one tells us, here's what the rest of your life will look like now. For me, the pain did not vanish. It became something different, something my body and my mind had to learn to carry in new ways. Parents and warriors, I want you to sit with this for a moment. If I get married tomorrow and my last name changes, and a friend from secondary school shouts, Wumi Bakari, while I'm crossing the road, I'm still going to turn around because I've been Wumi Bakari my whole life, because that name is my identity and it's been mine for as long as I remember. At the beginning of my speech, I introduced myself as a sickle cell warrior and a transplant survivor. And here's the most surprising part of my entire journey. Somewhere in the middle of my transplant recovery, I found myself asking the question that I never expected to face. Who am I now? And if I'm no longer a sickle cell warrior, then what am I? That question, that space between cure and actually knowing how to live, is what reimagining purpose truly begins. It is not a clinical medicine. It's not a question clinical medicine prepares you to ask. It's not a question anyone warns you about before you sign the consent forms. But it is, without question, one of the most important questions a survivor will ever face. And that gap between cure and knowing how to live changed the entire course of my life, because I realized that what I simply needed, it didn't exist at the time. And if it didn't exist for me as an adult warrior who had resources, language, and access, then I knew it most certainly didn't exist for transplant survivors all over the world, facing that exact same silence, without support, without community, without a single person telling them that the feeling they had was normal. And so I built it. Today, I'm the co-founder of an organization built entirely around one belief. Surviving sickle cell disease, surviving transplant, surviving gene therapy cannot be where our story ends. We are building a survivor database that is going to connect survivors across the world with one another so that no one has to walk this journey alone. We are running support groups to support patients and warriors and family members and loved ones who are looking for how to continue to support their warriors as they figure out how to care for them on the other side of these treatments. This is what reimagining purpose looks like. It is not waking up one day with a perfect sense of this is who I am. It's taking the question that once made me disoriented, who am I now, and turning it into the foundation for everything I build next. Because purpose was never something I found waiting for me on the other side of survival. I had to reimagine it, and so can you. As warriors, we are incredibly resilient, but I also want you to see your journey and your pain and turn it into purpose. We're all prodigies. We're all incredibly gifted. And I hope that even from your hospital bed, from your home, you always know that you have found a way to function and to survive against all odds. And that in itself is magic. But here's what ties all 3 chapters of my story together. At every single point, survival was not just treated as my finish line. I had to choose, and I had to keep choosing to believe that something more was possible. To every young warrior who is watching today, who is afraid of what your future holds, I want you to hear me. You are allowed to want more for yourself than just survival. You are allowed to dream about your education, your career, your relationships, marriage, children, your purpose, exactly anything anyone else has, you're allowed to dream as well. This disease does not disqualify you from a full life, and it does not disqualify you from joy. To every parent and caregiver watching, your fear is valid, and so is your hope. Both can live in your heart at the same time. And to the entire global sickle cell community in Nigeria, Europe, and the US, and everywhere this disease touches, I want you to live with this. We are not just producing survivors, we are building lives. And every single one of us in this community deserves nothing less than a chance to truly thrive. Thank you guys so much.
Oh my goodness. You already see the beautiful love throughout your entire presentation. It was so moving, Wumi. Thank you. But before we move on to our next speaker, I just need you to emphasize the chapters again. Can you say them again for us? Reimagining life in chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3.
Chapter 1 is reimagining life. Chapter 2 is reimagining possibility. And chapter 3, which is one of my favorites, is reimagining purpose.
Thank you so much. You said survival is not the finish line and that we are allowed to hope and dream. Thank you. Thank you so much. I can't wait till we dive deeper during the panel discussion. At this point, I want to move into our next speaker and balance these 2 discussions. This next Miss, okay, I think she's there. Yes, Miss Garasani, please go ahead, and I think you're going to state the title of your presentation as you go as well.
Yeah, thank you so much. I have the hard task to follow Wumi. That was phenomenal. And as I speak, you'll probably see a lot of the sentiments mirrors what Wumi has been saying as well. But my topic specifically is looking at the 2 sides of the same coin, the warrior side and also the health policy expert side. So I'll bring a little bit about my own story, but also the work that I do in a health policy landscape. Before I start, I will just set the scene a little bit. So for as long as I remember, sickle cell has been a part of my identity. Not my entire identity, but a part of it. So over the years, my relationship with the condition has evolved. I've lived with it indifferently. I've tried to outrun it. I've hidden with it. And I've also ultimately used it as an anchor to drive systemic change. 18 months ago, I also underwent a stem cell transplant. It changed my blood, my body, and fundamentally how I viewed my future and my sense of self as well. Yet it didn't change what has always really defined me, my drive and my why. If anything, it only strengthened it. So my journey with sickle cell has taught me that people who society often teach us to pity are always the same people who hold the capacity to make the greatest change. And as Wumi mentioned, scientifically, we know that the only difference between a piece of coal and a piece of diamond is that a diamond survived the pressure. I too cannot think of a better metaphor for sickle cell warriors. We are community forged in pressure and defined by resilience. So today, the story that I'm going to share with you is going to talk a little bit about how I'm not alone in saying that I don't wish this condition on anyone, but I have been so grateful for the condition, for the person that it has shaped me to be into. And I'm grateful for the impact I've been able to have, not in spite of sickle cell, but because of sickle cell. So let's all go back to the very, very beginning, and I'll tell you a little bit about my background and my childhood. I predominantly grew up in a small town in England, which was mainly white. And so I didn't know anyone else with sickle cell. Even though my family and I visited Nigeria every year, I felt very alone in my diagnosis. And now thinking about it, it's probably because in northern Nigeria, health isn't really something that we talk about openly. Despite all of this, and despite the isolation, I carried zero shame, and my parents really made sure of that. They encouraged me to live life to the fullest and instilled in me this belief that I could do anything that I set my mind to. And because of them, I never ever saw sickle cell as a limitation. In fact, as a child, I would genuinely forget that I had it at times. Most days I would feel actually normal, and I would think to myself, are you sure they are not just making this up? Like, they've probably got this wrong. But then a crisis would hit and it would remind me otherwise. But a couple of weeks later, after that crisis, I'll be back on my feet again and I'll be feeling the same. So for years, this was kind of the rhythm of my youth. I would live, I would forget, I'd get reminded about it, I'd recover, then I'd repeat. And sickle cell was just something that I lived with. But at this point, it wasn't something that I actually had a relationship with. But things started to change once I left home and went to university. Suddenly, I was surrounded by people from all walks of life, including international students from Nigeria. But as the world was expanding and my health was declining, even though at the time I really struggled to admit it to myself, I would look back and I would now see that I developed a relationship with my health, which was probably unhealthy. I'd taken this idea of not seeing it as a limitation and I pushed it to somewhere a little bit more dangerous. I was determined to thrive despite it at any cost. Life felt really short and uncertain, and I was in a rush to achieve everything immediately. I'm sure some of you guys could probably feel the same as well. Did that take a toll on my body? Yes, it did. Did it also enable me to do extraordinary things? Definitely yes. But here's where I first learned that our bodies are capable of great resilience. I learned that I was able to push mine to its absolute limit. And university was the first time I experienced real stigma and discriminatory barriers because of my condition. I learned that the world wasn't as safe or accommodating as my childhood home. And so I made the decision to keep this part of myself a little bit more private, at least for now. It's funny because people from this season of my life still get shocked when they learn I had sickle cell, as in their own words, they said that I didn't act like someone with sickle cell. So then after university, I moved to London to start my career in health policy. In those early days, I still didn't really want to talk about the fact that I had sickle cell or my health just generally. But finally, I began meeting people with sickle cell who were doing extraordinary things with their lives, and I started to feel part of this community. At the same time, I increasingly found myself in professional spaces where I was the only voice from the community in those rooms. And then COVID hit. We started to see kind of the stark health inequalities running through our societies, and they became impossible to ignore. The Black Lives Matter movement forced health systems around the world to start to reckon with their own discrimination, and I felt something shift in me as well. I was sitting in these rooms with system leaders holding a level of access that most sickle cell patients just never get, and I realized that staying quiet in that position and shrinking my lived reality to fit comfortably in the workplace carried its own kind of cost. So I just stopped. I began speaking about my sickle cell with my teams at NHS England, and also through my policy work, I started telling everybody in power and everyone who would listen that sickle cell is the epitome of racial and social health inequity, and that if we're really serious about closing health gaps, this is exactly where we need to start. So I supported the Sickle Cell Society, where I now serve as vice chair, in driving a government inquiry into the systemic failures of sickle cell care. Not long after, we launched the multi-stakeholder program led by NHS England, and this program was designed to transform care from the bottom up, looking at screening, emergency and community care, specialist care like maternity, research development. We looked at everything that we could think about. If it touched sickle cell, we looked into it. I became the chair of that patient advisory group, and I really didn't want patients just commenting from the sidelines, as we often find. So instead, we pushed for patient voice and the community voice to be the driving force when it comes to the program's priorities and its defining and finding its successes. And it was through that group that we started to hear directly from patients what good practice really looks like. For example, we already knew that patients were experiencing terrible care in emergency departments, but through that group, we learned that about a hospital in another city in England where they had built this emergency bypass system, and this system would allow sickle cell patients to call ahead before they come to hospital and go directly to the specialist that understood their needs. And we then took that one patient's lived experience and scaled it into a national model. Over the years, I have increasingly kind of bridged this gap between my advocacy and my policy work, which lies at this intersection of community-centered health policy, research, and innovation. And the challenge that I keep on returning to is how we can ensure equitable implementation of these innovations and emerging therapies. And I believe a huge part of this answer is to try and drive diverse engagement across the innovation pipeline. But the challenge is that the reasons for disengagement are complex. Underserved communities like our own carry long-standing systemic exclusion, discrimination, stigma, mistrust, historic exploitation. We've seen it all. Speaking to both kind of my professional and personal identities, in 2023, I began co-chairing the Genomics England Diverse Data Initiative. Once again, my aim was to put patients at the centre of designing a world-leading genomic research resource, one that is built to address some of these disparities and expand access to personalised medicine. Around the same time, I was working with researchers and policymakers to identify what actually matters to patients and shape evaluation criteria for emerging technologies and therapies. This really mattered when it came to approving gene therapy for sickle cell in the NHS. I'll tell you a bit of a story. So the first time it was rejected on the NHS, the current gene therapy. So with the Sickle Cell Society, we went back, we gathered the evidence, the impact it could have, the unmet need, the patient experience and preferences, and made the case again. And finally, we succeeded. And what all of these experiences have taught me is that time and time again, we see that without patients at the table helping to define what success really means, therapeutics for sickle cell are less likely to be approved. And even when they are approved, they're less likely to actually work and be accessible for the people they're meant to serve. And this brings me to my own kind of transplant experience. So last year, I had a pioneering stem cell transplant using a conditioning regimen, which is still under investigation. What drove me to that decision, similar to Wumi, was essentially that I had run out of options. When my health started to decline, I became a very early user of hydroxyurea when I was even seen in pediatrics, so years and years ago. It was a miracle drug for me. I went from having a crisis every month to not having a single one in 4 years. But then after 10 really good years on it, the effects started to wane and we couldn't increase the dose as I had just reached tolerance. Any higher, then my neutrophils would drop and it would become too dangerous. So this was happening. And in addition to that, I was having all of these terrifying complications with stroke scares and head swelling and early retinopathy in my eyes. And we knew that we had to do something. Again, similar to Wumi, red blood cell exchanges weren't a long-term solution for me because I had poor venous access and I was getting constant reactions to blood products. I tried a new monoclonal antibody, so a new therapy that came out, but it was quickly withdrawn from the market and truthfully, it didn't work for me anyway. And this is a devastating reality for sickle cell generally. We just simply don't have enough options. So when you exhaust the few that you do have, what do you do? And again, I was one of the lucky ones. My sister was a full match and it made me eligible for a transplant, but the road was brutal. It took about 18 months of preparation, 3 exhausting cycles of fertility preservation, 11 days of conditioning that combined multiple types of chemotherapy, immunotherapy, and total body irradiation, then 2 days of infusing 16 bags of stem cells. And then the long wait for my new bone marrow to take. And during that window, I spent 2 agonizing weeks in ICU fighting uncontrollable pain, antibiotic-resistant sepsis, and hemorrhagic mucositis, where the lining of my entire digestive tract was raw, shedding, and bleeding. There were moments I genuinely didn't think that I was going to survive. But here I am today, 18 months later, and 100% of my blood cells now belong to my sister. And I've experienced, oh, thank you. I've experienced some graft versus host disease where my cells recognize my own body as foreign. So I'm yet to be revaccinated, but I can finally see the light at the end of the tunnel. And the best way that I can sum up this entire experience is that it is a high risk, high reward treatment. Now, I'm no longer afraid of the cold nor exercise, and my future looks so much more hopeful. I feel lighter, I feel freer, and I'm not constantly waiting for the next complication that could either alter my life forever or even end it. But I want that freedom and that peace to be a reality for the majority of people living with sickle cell, not just a tiny minority. That's where we are today. The hard truth is that in its current form, this intense treatment options aren't right for everyone. We need more research and innovation to give people safe and gentler options, but we also need to improve the pathways that already exist. And I had every advantage going into this transplant. I had an understanding of the health system, I had clinical knowledge, I had world-leading care, and also the best support around me. But still, it was the hardest thing that I've ever had to navigate. And if it was difficult for me, I could only imagine how difficult it is going to be for those in a less fortunate position. And that's why, alongside like Wumi and other incredible colleagues, I'm working in the global health colleagues and advocates to design the right guidelines and support systems, ensuring that everyone who chooses to have these transformative therapies can do so safely in their current form. Because right now, the disparities are actually glaring. In the UK, a cancer patient that receives the same care under the same team for the exact same treatment has access to free prescriptions, extensive welfare, financial support, wraparound services, all things that sickle cell patients don't have. And how is that fair? We also know that places like Nigeria, where the burden of the disease is highest, even the basics like hydroxy, urea, and blood transfusions remain a daily challenge, let alone transformative therapies that require enormous costs and infrastructure. Coalitions across Africa are doing incredible work to try and change this, including building the required genomic infrastructure, but the challenges are really systemic. My own care team told me that they were surprised about how unwell I became during treatment, and they said it was the worst case of toxicity that they'd ever seen. Why? Well, we just don't have the data yet to say. And this brings me to a number that I can't stop thinking about, 90%. 90% of the world's genomic databases are historically built on European ancestry data. I'll say that again. 90% of the world's genomic databases are historically built on European ancestry data. If personalized medicine is going to work for people that look like you and I, for our people, that has to change. We cannot build the future of medicine on the exclusion of global majority, right? With all that's being said, I kind of feel 2 things simultaneously. They don't cancel each other out, and in fact, they're actually probably born from the same thing. First, I feel incredibly grateful for what this body has given me. And second, I feel highly responsible to use this gift to make an even bigger impact than I could before. And looking back over my journey with sickle cell, from living with it indifferently to trying to outrun it, hiding it, finding my voice with it, then surviving it, and now living beyond it, I have learned that the people best positioned to drive real systemic change are the ones standing closest to the problem, not in spite of their proximity to the pain, but because of it. My lived experience is what let me understand the reality of this disease in a way that a textbook or a policy dashboard can never. My profession is then what let me take that understanding and translate it into transformation. It gave me the tools and the abilities to shape clinical pathways, inform research priorities, and assemble evidence bases, including one that was strong enough to reverse a rejected therapy. For a long time, I thought of these two as separate identities, the patient and then the policy leader, but not anymore. I now see how powerful they are as intertwined identities. The warrior in me gives the policy expert her evidence and her insight, while the policy expert gives this warrior the experience, this warrior's experiences somewhere to go. So to end, I'm no longer waiting for the next complication to change my life forever, and that fear has lifted, but the purpose hasn't gone away, and part of it still belongs to this community, and it always will. So my invitation to everyone listening today, whatever your relationship with sickle cell looks like right now, whether you're still in the live with it quietly chapter, the outrun it chapter, or you found your voice, you don't need a permission to be a change maker. In fact, you're already making a difference by being a part of this community, showing up every day and just being true to yourself in all the spaces you occupy. And it's such a privilege to be part of this community. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I'm now going to call you Zainab because now I
Please do.
feel like I know you so much better. So Zainab, let's reflect on this a little bit more. I always feel that no matter where you live in the world with sickle cell, you face disparity. And you just described to us the disparities you faced in the United Kingdom. You braved a world alone in silence and in privacy because you were the only person you knew. And when you reached that health policy phase, I'm going to try to quote you. You said, sickle cell disease is the epitome of racial and health disparities. You were trying to wake them up. You were telling them, and telling them again. And then I also loved how you said that equitable innovation requires diverse engagement. And you even wrapped up at the end saying people who are closest to the problem. You mentioned your transplant journey and something that you said, somebody said in your past that, oh, you don't look, I don't think you didn't look like somebody with sickle cell. You do not look like what you've been through. God bless you. I mean, look, gorgeous, beautiful, all the things you just described. Thank you so much, Zainab. And thank you, Wumi. Both of you just, I mean, look at the hearts, the claps. It just warms my heart, gives me encouragement, and you've encouraged so many people in this room. And as we move on to our panel, I wanted you to say, you know, you didn't encourage just the people on this Zoom call. As you heard earlier, this is being live streamed. And then if you didn't realize, some of you may have noticed Channels TV is on, documenting this program as well. And for those that don't know Channels, I just wanted to tell you a little bit about this beautiful organization. They're an independent 24-hour news and TV channel broadcasting since the 1990s. I think they've been around helping Nigeria, documenting our stories, and also serving for accountability. They've been a watchdog as well. So we are grateful to you, Channels, for coming and for all the people supporting us today with this beautiful program. Welcome, welcome. Okay, so we want to use our time well because we have a lot to talk about. We have a beautiful panel, and I'm going to introduce them. And again, just spotlight them as we say their names. And I'm going to do brief introductions because you're going to hear more. And I will also like to include on the panel Zainab and Wumi as well. So first, let's call up Bukola Bolanriwa. And I will apologize in advance if my accent messes up your name, so please forgive me. So Bukola is a lawyer. She is a sickle cell advocate, especially in regards to blood donation, and she is the founder of Haima Health. And so we're excited to have her. She's won numerous awards, and we'll learn more about her journey. We also want to welcome Iggy Aikomu, who is a sickle cell advocate, but also a public health nutritionist. And she's been based in the UK, living with sickle cell disease for several years. She was eventually able to get a bone marrow transplant in 2020. And she also has been committed to advocating for both sides for the sickle cell community. Dr. Mikhail Matthews. She is a sickle cell warrior, but also a business strategist, an investor, an author, and a marketplace leader. She is somebody who feels it's important to champion sickle cell disease in all the spaces, including in the space of holistic wellness. So we're excited to learn more from her. And then good friend of mine, Ms. Oluwafemi Ajayi, welcome. She coins herself the winning warrior, and winning is what she is. Living with sickle cell disease, but advocating for those in pain and the disease through her nonprofit organization, Gale Sickle Cell Initiative. And she's been a champion on various platforms. And then we're happy to welcome Mr. Zakaria Ibrahim Al-Kadem. And he is an international patient advocate joining us from Bahrain, which I was excited. He's the president of the Bahrain Sickle Cell Society and president of Amplify Sickle Cell Voices International, has extensive experience advocating for sickle cell disease. And we're happy to get his experiences here today as well. And then last, but certainly not least, we have Mr. Olamilekan Agbeleshe. I'm so sorry if I messed up your name. We're going to call you Lekan. Yes, Lekan is here. I don't need to introduce him, but I will anyway. He's a Nigerian rapper, singer, songwriter. I'm already getting excited because of his I'm starstruck. You may know him as somebody who won Big Brother Naija season 5. But he's taken his successes to be an ambassador and a champion in Ogun State as well as throughout Nigeria. And he also serves in a high position with the Grammys Recording Academy, being a voting member. And it's beautiful that he's a brand ambassador of the Sickle Cell Foundation Nigeria with his lived experience. So welcome to everyone. Okay, so let's start with the questions, and I'm going to be watching the time. I know the tech team, they're going to shout at me if I forget anything, but I'm going to try my best, and we're not going to be able to get through all the questions, but let's start with a very important one. Both Wumi and Zainab discussed, there was this moment where they kind of decided they're going to live beyond their diagnosis in various ways. It happened in different moments for each of them. So I wanted to know more from our other panelists today. Growing up with sickle cell disease, was there that moment for you, this moment where you decided your condition would not define your future? And Femi, I'd like to start with you actually, Oluwafemi, if you don't mind, and then we're gonna go around. Oh, and Oluwafemi, do you need time with your camera? If so, I can come back.
No, it's fine. I think I'm okay. Yeah, there was the time I had my turning point when I stopped.
Can we have your camera on, Oluwafemi?
Yes, but it's misbehaving. I've been
okay.
So
what we can do, I'm gonna call on one other panelist while you work on the camera, and then we'll come back to you if that's okay. Okay, I apologize. So Lekan, I ended the introductions with you, so why don't we go to you? Was there a moment where you had this, like, you know what, I want to live beyond my diagnosis. I'm not going to allow this disorder to define me. Can you share that with us, please?
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So for me, I don't think there was one defining moment. I think it's a choice that I make every day. I think for everything I pursue or for every aspect of my life, I have to be aware that, okay, so this is something you would factor. It's not like it's a defining factor, but it's just you think about it. It's at the back of your mind for every decision that you make, and then you have to make sure that it is not going to determine the outcome. You're just factoring it in as per, oh, it's raining here, so let me pass this place. It's still not going to stop me from getting to where I want to get to yet. So I think it's an everyday choice for me. It's an everyday decision. So it's not like one day I make that decision on everything.
Thank you.
Becomes easy that way.
Can I apologize for just jumping in here,
Yes,
and also to
Dr. Annette.
the representative from Federal Ministry of Health has a meeting and would want to go. So
Oh,
can he
yes.
just make a few remarks and then leave us?
Yes,
Please.
thank you.
Yeah.
We're going to press pause.
Recon, please.
Please
Then.
go
Thank you
ahead.
for understanding. I know you are one of us. Sickle Cell Foundation. Stand by.
Yeah, go now. Can I come in now?
Yes, sir.
That with Dr. Alayo. So this can spotlight him. Tech team, please spotlight Dr. Alayo. Dr. Alayo is the director of the Federal Ministry of Health, and he's been the champion for non-communicable diseases, mostly sickle cell disorder over the years. Even when sickle cell was falling through the cracks, Dr. Alayo was in the front shouting and fighting. So Dr. Alayo, moderator, please, over to you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. Yeah, let me start by thanking the chairman board of Sickle Cell Foundation Nigeria, the national director of Sickle Cell Foundation Nigeria for putting this together. As a matter of fact, I think like I listened to the chairman board of directors saying that government cannot do it alone. Yes, so I would like to thank Sickle Cell Foundation for putting this together. Of course, in furtherance to all series of activities that have been put together to celebrate 2026 World Sickle Cell Disease Day. Of course, the Federal Ministry of Health has done its own activity, but we are grateful for the level that Sickle Cell Foundation has taken this year's celebration to. We follow the events in Kano and other places. And then this panel discussion that was put together, I think is another dimension to the discussion in the sense that you look at the theme for this year's celebration that says beyond survivor, and which the chairman of the board also alluded to. I mean, other things, the discussion now is even beyond survivors, okay, when these people, when these children, when they survive, so what else? And we know that once somebody has sickle cell disease, the continuum of care is something that we have to provide all to the during the life course of that particular person. And as a result of that, it clearly shows that all hands must be on deck, from government to even the people who are living with the disease itself. That is the warriors. So, and I would also like to thank the warriors themselves for all the contributions they have made in our journey towards ensuring that we improve the survival of children that are born with this disease in our country, and also for pushing us also to do more to see how we can improve on what we are doing currently. So I am really sorry that I'm not really able to listen to all the panelists, those that have spoken, but I appreciate, but to say that I appreciate each and every one of you. And it is my hope that at the end of this discussion, whatever is discussed will be shared with us in the ministry so that we can take steps to actually see how we can implement some of probably your recommendations and whatever that is coming out of this discussion. So I will even urge the Sickle Cell Foundation of Nigeria, if it is possible, to share a communique from this year's celebration with us, so that the ministry can look at it and see what can be done, and those things that we can use to add value to what we are doing currently in the ministry, so that we can take it further from there. So, and I think at this point, I would like to say that the Sickle Cell Foundation has been very, very lucky to have somebody like Dr. Akinsete as the national director at this point in time, because the experience he has brought to bear in the foundation has been very, very commendable. It is actually far beyond what anyone can imagine, and that stems from the fact that she has worked at various levels with government, with WHO, international partners, NGOs, and other things, and even in our own private life. I think she has brought all those experiences to Sickle Cell Foundation. So we are grateful to you, madam. So, and it is my hope that continue to do better to see how we can actually continue to take our initiative for sickle cell disease. We can take it further. And permit me to quickly also let you know at this point that we now have a second edition of our National Sickle Cell Disease National Sickle Cell Disease Guideline is out now, and where we have reviewed the guideline, which was the first edition that we produced under the chairmanship of the founder of Sickle Cell Foundation himself, that's Professor Akinyoji Baba himself. So now we have a second edition, which we just reviewed and updated recently. And thank you, National Coordinator, because you are present in all the meetings, and your contributions were very, very valuable. And it also shows that all these things we are doing is to see how we can improve the quality of life of every single child that is born in Nigeria to survive and also live quality of life that they deserve. Then let me also ask that our warriors, we want to see you lead some of these our initiatives, particularly awareness creation in our communities. I think there is high time we put all our differences aside and work for the benefit of all warriors across the country. You have seen, you've been to I think almost different parts of this country. There is nowhere in Nigeria you don't find sickle cell disease where we don't have children that are born with sickle cell disease. And that behoves on us that we have a lot of work in our hands. Even as civil society organizations, as warriors, people living with this disease, there is a lot of work to be done. We have to continue.
Did we lose Dr. Shukla Khan? I wanted to thank him for his words. For those that don't know, Dr. Alayo Shukla, what he said about all hands on deck, he puts his hand there first, like he's servant leadership, fighting for sickle cell disease so passionately with our Ministry of Health. And I love how he said he doesn't just want to emphasize survival, he wants to emphasize quality of life. So thank you, sir. If you can hear us, we are grateful that you joined us, your busy schedule with the Ministry of Health, and you're championing sickle cell disease for us. Thank you.
So please take care of Dr. Wellington now, please, so she can go as well.
Oh, wonderful. Dr. Wellington, please go ahead with your
Lagos State Ministry of Health. Lagos State Ministry of Health. Alayo was from Federal Ministry of Health. So spotlight Dr. Wellington, please.
Yeah, good afternoon, everybody. Can you hear me?
Good afternoon, Dr. Wellington. Where are you?
Okay, yeah, good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Yes, please go ahead.
Okay, yeah, thank you very much. Allowing
Thank
me
you for coming from another meeting. Thank you.
Opportunity to be part of this meeting. Incidentally, I'm in the same meeting with Dr. Alayo. I didn't know that he stepped out until I heard his voice. So I just want to say it's fantastic being part of this meeting. I want to thank everybody that's made this meeting possible. We all know how important it is that we all make our contributions to the sickle cell fight. I mean, putting our hands on deck, like Dr. Layo did say, very vital. We all know that government, of course, cannot do it alone. We need everybody involved. Everybody needs to make their contribution so that we can do a very good job, do what needs to be done. And at the end of the day, we have cause to be thankful that we have done a very fantastic one and we fought a good fight. I want to thank everybody. No matter how little your contribution is, it's definitely a step in the right direction. It's definitely adding to the pool and definitely going to make a huge difference down the line. So thank you very much, everybody. I hope we'll have a wonderful time. And I'm bringing greetings from Lagos State. I'm bringing greetings from my bosses, my Honorable Commissioner for Health, Mr. Akawayomi, my Special Advisor on Health, Dr. Kemi Ogunyemi, and my Permanent Secretary, Lagos Ministry of Health, Dr. Dayo Lajide. Thank you very much. Lagos is always, always ready to fight the good fight. Thank you.
Amen. Thank you, Dr. Wellington. We appreciate you working on the behalf of all of us for Lagos State at the Ministry of Health level. We appreciate your words. Thank you so much. And I just wanted to double check with Dr. Akinsete. Are there any other goodwill messages?
That'll be all for now. Let's just finish. Yeah. Thank you.
Wonderful.
Thank
So,
for
you know,
taking me on. I
yes,
apologize.
when you have warriors, warriors always are happy to see their champions and their allies fighting with them side by side. You have two beautiful examples with Dr. Shopeka and Dr. Wellington. So Nigeria is grateful. And so let's dive back into our panel. And if you can spotlight our panelists, I haven't forgotten. I still feel the energy and the buzz. We heard from Wumi, we heard from Zainab. And then Lekon just shared that, you know, for him, there wasn't just one defining moment where he was like, I want to, you know, live beyond my diagnosis. And I wanted us to go to Iggy now. Iggy, can you share a little bit about what that question means to you? Was there a moment in time where you realized that, you know what, I want to live beyond my diagnosis and not let it define me?
I actually have a very distinct moment, and hello everyone, by the way. I grew up with my sickle cell, 15 years in Lagos. I grew up in Lagos at home, and then I moved to the UK for school. And like Zainab said, it's so different coming to a country like this one. And of course, you think better healthcare, so that could automatically mean better handle of my sickle cell, but it didn't necessarily go that way for me. And when I started my first year of university, I was 18 at the time, my health suddenly started to really decline. I had a really hard time getting a handle on my health and my degree at the same time. I was always in the hospital. And similar to something Zainab said, I grew up personally with that idea and learning from sickle cell or people with sickle cell that you shouldn't share your disease. It's not something you should necessarily feel comfortable telling people about, or you don't want people to know. So even through, at this point of 18 years, I'd managed to not really let maybe more than 3 friends know. I mean, people knew I had sickle cell, but I couldn't say they knew what it meant or how it actively played a role in my life. And then I got really ill, and it started looking like I had to drop out of university because of it. And I remember I had a moment in my accommodation. I was sitting in my room, and something that really stuck with me growing up with sickle cell, I used to Google everything about sickle cell. I used to wonder, what does it mean? How does this work? And I remember the life expectancy for someone with sickle cell when I was about 7 was 35 to 40. So, I mean, I was very aware that is really young. I mean, my parents are already that age. So what does that mean for me? So I remember at this point in my accommodation, I'm sitting there and I had this moment of realizing, oh, that life expectancy, it's catching up with me. I think I started realizing, oh my goodness, this is the decline they're talking about. This is something is happening to me that might put me in that category. And then I got very frustrated. I also had this thought with myself that, so if something should happen to me right now, would it be the case that no one in my life knew what I was going through? would it be a case that, oh, something could happen and everyone could wonder, oh, I had no idea. Oh, I had no idea she was struggling with this. So defining, because it pushed me in a way where I said, I'm not going to go gently. Like if something were to happen, I'm not going to take it. So I started posting about my sickle cell on social media. I went on Instagram, I took my account as it was, and I was like, hello, everyone, I have sickle cell. This is what it looks like. I started posting myself in A&E. I would post myself going to my hospital appointments. Like I just wanted to give people insight to this is what life with sickle cell looks like. And for me, I just stuck to that notion of I'm not going to go gently. Like, I'm not going to let this disease be something that is so big in my life. But when it comes down to it, I don't want people to know about it. I was like, that doesn't work. So from there, I mean, it's opened a bunch of doors for me that I know we'll get into. But I would say that one moment was where I was like, not having it.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Iggy. That was beautiful. Not go quietly. You must not. And thank you for leading that charge. And I was actually told we had some technical difficulties with Lakan. I don't think, Mr. Lakan, if you can come back, I don't think we captured all of your message. So please, we want you to finish the words that you were saying about your experience. Okay, and while we wait for him, there you go. Yes, please go ahead and continue, sir. Sorry, I didn't realize that we were not able to finish all of your comments.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty straightforward. Like I said, is the decision for me, from my experience, it's something that I have to choose every day, because there are days like everybody knows, it's not every day you wake up motivated to do things. So you have to push yourself to do it. So there are days when you wake up and there are things that you want to chase, and there are things that you want to do, and then you're like feeling some type of way, but then you still have to make that decision that I'm not going to not do this because of this, because it's not going to derail me. It's just I think it's just something that you should note, not something that you should let define your choices to the extent where you abandon them, or you just totally say, oh, I'm not doing that because of that. So it's something that I let myself remember every day. So it's a decision that I make every day.
A daily decision. That is well put. Thank you. And we're going to come back to that point. I wanted to see if Bukola, if you wanted to add to this commentary, what Iggy and Lekan have just shared.
Yeah,
Was there a
absolutely.
moment for you? Mhm.
Yeah, so for me, I agree with Lekon. I don't think I had a moment, and I think I would have to credit that to my parents. Growing up, they basically told me that I could do everything, and they encouraged me to do anything and everything that I felt that I wanted to do. I'll give a really good example. I was in SS1, there was a school trip, and I remember they were a little bit conflicted about whether to send me to it because everybody was going to Jos, and in Jos there would be mountain climbing and so on. And as parents, when you have a child with sickle cell, there's nerves, right? Like it was my first time being away from them, and there would be loads of activities. And they were really nervous about should we go, should we not go, but they made the decision to let me go, and I'm really thankful to them for that. I did end up coming back with a crisis, but I'm really glad I went because I feel like as a child, some of these formative things determine like your confidence and your ability to think about yourself as a capable person, knowing that some of these challenges are going to come, but that you should still go ahead for them with them anyway. And I think things like that gave me a real kind of bug for traveling. I've traveled to over 40 countries since then, and every single time I want to travel, my mom is nervous. She prays, but she still tells me to go ahead. And that for me is how I approach like daily living with sickle cell. And I would like to actually ask a lot of the participants as well to think about and type in the chat, like what is something that you think with sickle cell you've not you people have said you shouldn't be able to do, but you've gone ahead to do it anyway, right? Like there's so many instances I have in my life where I think about something and I'm like nervous about it. Swimming was another example where I was told previously by a doctor that if you have sickle cell, don't swim. And I just never learned how to swim until I was 35. And then I decided, you know what, actually, maybe let me give it a try. I was so convinced I was going to have a crisis after my very first swimming lesson. But I never had a crisis. I didn't have a crisis after every single swimming lesson I ever took. So for me, I'm super like Lakon, take every day as it comes. There will be challenges, some things will be hard, but I wouldn't say that there was one particular moment where I made the decision. I think my parents had kind of instilled that unconsciously in me to go after things and do hard things. Whatever the kind of repercussions afterwards, then you face it.
Thank you, Bukola. And I actually want to go to Dr. Michael Matthew, and I hope I pronounced your first name correctly because I know you may have to go to a different meeting next. So maybe not just discuss the moment, but what does thriving with sickle cell disease mean to you? And if there's any other words of wisdom you'd like to share
Michelle.
before you live. Oh, Michelle. Thank you, Dr.
Yes,
Michelle.
Michelle, it is easy. Hi. So first of all, I want to say a big thank you for the opportunity to be on here. I'm glad to be in the room. Just listening to everyone today speak of their journey, one of the things that I am taking with me is that sometimes you feel it's only you that has it. And almost everyone that has spoken, they've said, oh, I was embarrassed to talk about it. I am finally beginning to talk about it after many years, because growing up in Nigeria and the northern part of the country, it wasn't something you actually spoke about. It was whispered. I didn't even know I had a problem till I started to grow up and started to run in school. Then I just wasn't coping well. And eventually when I ran my test and they said it was SS, there was general disbelief. Everybody was like, where, how? But we all knew how, and we didn't want to recognize it. Then it started the arduous journey of your family trying to find the information that keeps you alive. And if you know sickle cell and growing up years back, one of the things he was known for, you were almost like someone that came to take the family's money, because the amount of money that was required for your care was quite a bit. And as I grew up and went to university, which comes to the years where the crises are really bad, I struggled. I was a very brilliant student, but I struggled with coming out with the right grades and keeping alive because my crisis had really gone bad. And I'm not sure I had the requisite support immediately. In time, a few people came to help. Then it's a teaching hospital that confirms that you are a sickler. So you would see me in the hot afternoon with a cardigan, because if anything got up to my chest, an infection, I would have a relapse. I'd have a crisis where I'm also hiding from people. And eventually, recently really, is when I told myself, you know what, you're here in your 50s, you haven't died, you have 3 kids, and a lot of the things that they said you couldn't do, you're doing them. And I'll tell you what I'm doing. If you go to my Instagram page, for the first time, I had the boldness. So hearing Iggy speak, it's your mom, I know, by the way, and your lady. hearing her speak, I thought to myself, when I wanted to learn how to swim, it was like a death wish. I posted on my swimming journey and I decided that, and I taught all my 3 kids to swim. You know, there's just a defiance you actually get. And I said, you know what, I am actually thriving. I have learned using diet to control what comes to me, how I cope with, and when I say using diet, eating clean, because then there was I don't know if her books was available, but it was a Kafayat actually. She wrote a book on sickle cell that was like the manual all of us had. That was her name, but I don't know if she's one on the call or someone else. But it was her book we all read to see, what do you eat, how do you go about it. Today I have delved into nutrition for that reason. So when you speak about going beyond just surviving and now thriving, to be honest, I am thriving. I haven't had a crisis in years, but I have also learned to listen to my body hard. I do not apologize for resting. I don't even, if you know me, by weekends, I just plop, I go to bed, and sleep heals me. And then I realize that there are really simple things that I do to make sure that if the job is too stressful, as much as I would like to make all of that money, I will not take the opportunity. And so, and I don't come with the story of my health. No, I just say, you know what, it might not work for me. And I pull back. But I have also, in all of this, I did investment banking, which is a high pressure space, but I did it at a pace. And thankfully, there's one of my bosses that was talking to me about 2 weeks ago. And I remember him every evening, he would drive me to the hospital so that I check in for my results, my blood work, all I needed to do. Some days were bad days, some others were good days, but mine was mainly bone pain crisis. And when it comes, I can barely use, I remember months without being able to use especially my hip and my spine. I struggled with that for a while, and an infection just takes you out. So now that there's a lot, I make sure I don't get an infection. And that means my space has to be clean. There are just some things I can't accommodate. And then for food wise, I eat healthy. And I want to speak to anyone who's here on this call. You might not know the value of simple things like a turmeric tea. As simple as it is, inflammation is one of the things that triggers a crisis for many persons. But you find a turmeric tea with black pepper in it. Make sure I take it at night and by morning, because what I struggled with was being either I'm going to take a medication. In Nigeria, there's certain drugs that are given to you for crisis, but they would actually create an addiction because opium is what is at the back of it. So they'll give it to you for a while, then I'll stop. Then they'll give me another one. And I needed to find a way to find balance. And as I started to take maybe a chamomile tea in the evening, or I alternate with a few weeks of a turmeric tea, I found out I woke up in the morning, no pains, because it works like it works like a paracetamol to the body. So I started finding natural ways so I don't stress my system in terms of how I cope. And I also try and keep strength, because for a sickler, what you find is you don't want to eat. That's the main thing. So for everyone who sees me, I struggle to keep my weight. I can't afford to drop weight, because if I drop weight, then I become lethargic or whatever else going on with me. So I find out that coconut, for instance, keeps you strong. So every day I would have probably a spoon or 2 teaspoons of coconut oil, and I have seen me build strength. And if you know me well, they would buy it. I eat maybe like 3 or 4 just to keep strength. I didn't know it before. I started to listen to a particular doctor in the US that spoke about natural things, and it helped me keep strength till now. I can go to the gym 2-3 times a week. I don't do too much, but I do enough, because now I'm building resistance. And then I go and swim a few laps. I did things early. I wouldn't say I got married so early, but I did things early. And then I traveled thinking, well, maybe, but I'm here. And now I am more comfortable in my body. This is probably the second time I've spoken at all openly in this manner about my health, but it's been a good journey. And God bless my family as best as, you know, we whisper the conversation. If you said you had sickle cell maybe 30, 40 years back, everybody just, if someone died in the family, I'll tell you how bad it was. If someone dies in the family, you're the last to know. Because they kind of think if they tell you about death, you're going next, it would trigger your crisis. So nobody says it. So I look at myself, I'm like, you're a pretty person, but inside, maybe it's like a shell. So you begin to pull back, you begin to hide, you begin to doubt yourself. I recently started to deliberately put myself out there that I agree with Iggy when she says, I'm not going. I'm going. If I ever go, I'm going with a bang. and I'm going to live this life to be healed. So it makes your choices very deliberate. But what you find in the later years is it means you've actually done most of the things you wanted to do. I've chased the 7 wonders. Now I'm chasing more wonders. So every Niagara Fall, the Stonehenge, all the natural wonders I could find, I've looked for them. But I'm sitting here thriving, no longer telling myself that I'm less than, because I am not less than. My mind is extremely, and I would say it for those of us, well, the sicklers I know, and God bless I've known 8 personally. I think I'm about the only one of the 8 that's still alive. So it makes me value life a lot more than most people. People wonder you're quite intentional. I'm intentional about my family. I'm intentional about the people I love. I'm very intense about the things I pursue. And that intensity comes from the fact that life is not, it can go, but it can also stay. And then with my faith, I keep it. It made me very early to hold on to my faith. And today I'm grateful for that faith, but I also know science has done a great work. And then nutrition does an added work, if you would allow it. So I hope I've answered it some.
No, that was beautiful. If you saw the encouragement, you are a role model for all of us. Thank you. Thank you so much. And there's people want the recipe. People want the recipe of the turmeric tea, Dr. Basket. They want the recipe. If you can put it in the chat, that would be great. And while she's doing that, I wanted to see if Oluwafemi Ajayi is back. I think I saw her, so if she can. With this question, I want to know, when has your sickle cell been more of a strength than a hindrance to you? And, you know, as you think about the questions we've already talked about, Ms. Ajayi, Femi, if you're able to unmute. I think I see her.
Yeah, that happened when I stopped self-denial. There's something with we sickle cell winning warriors. I don't call myself a warrior. I call myself a winning warrior. We get influenced by the society a lot. And when the society is always speaking about rejection, marginalization for us, we get influenced by that and try to pretend as if we are actually not who we are. But then I saw that it wasn't working for me. Firstly, because I'm a twin and I was comparing myself with my twin a lot. Why can't I be like my twin? Why can't I be healthy like her? Blah, blah, blah. And then I also had laparoscopic surgery. And that was the point when I just decided that, okay, I can't do this anymore. I can't live by other people's standards. I have to embrace myself. I have to be unique in my difference and accept who I am. And from that, I can move on. And today, knowing that I am a winning warrior, I can manage sickle cell disease, and I'm almost concluding my doctoral studies, which is based on the lived experience of people living with sickle cell disease. So for me, it's kind of holistic now. I've embraced it. I'm trying to, while impacting other people, I'm also learning and helping myself to manage as much as possible.
And that is beautiful. And congratulations as you complete this doctorate. Thank you for championing sickle cell disease, even with your PhD work. This is amazing. Mr. Zechariah, I would like to go to you next, if you can unmute and share with us about thriving with sickle cell disease and how, if you feel that sometimes sickle cell has actually been a
Please,
strength.
we didn't get her name. Can we have her name before she goes, please?
Oh, yes. The woman that just talked?
Yes, please.
Yes, that was yes, Oluwafemi Ajayi. And she's still here. She's still going to be around.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, and now please go ahead, Mr. Zechariah.
Good evening, good afternoon for somebody, good evening for somebody. some else and for good morning for other part of the world. I'm very glad.
Mr. Gara, where is your outfit? Your Bahrainian outfit.
This is the challenge. I supposed to be with the Arabic text, but unfortunately,
Anyway.
I'm admitted at hospital to receiving a blood transfusion. This is unplanned. Our plan, our plan is to join you from home or from office, but this is the sickle cell. You cannot plan it, and you cannot say that tomorrow I will be fine. So today I'm in the hospital because of the crisis. I think sickle cell
Sorry about that.
same. Pain is the same. Either it is in Nigeria, in Africa, in the Middle East, in Africa. Sickle cell, it doesn't say this is or African, this is pain is a pain. This is a disease. While I'm talking, while I'm hearing a lot of success story and journey here in Bahrain, I feel like we are lucky. While in expectancy age, Bahrain is 68. At the same time, Nigeria and Africa, most of the child die before age 5. It's very, very painful. I cannot say I win the fight while I see my colleagues winning the fight because they were alone in the field, while myself, the community, the government, I don't care, I don't concern about paying my bills. I have no concern about living. I have no challenges about how I do. Everybody's supporting, providing. I feel my parents, my family, they don't have, they are not in position to choose either to feed the family or to buy the medicine.
That way we have your own. Yeah,
this is happening in
No,
Africa.
just put a hand up. Yes.
But doesn't happen in Bahrain. So I cannot compare this and say we achieved, we have no challenge, same challenge that Africa do. So I don't count myself. I have that same fight. My colleagues fight in Africa or Nigeria. So you are a great fighter. You are a great fighter because you face a lot, and every time, every day, you wake up and you have another day to fight, and nobody will beat you, and you have wishing that you will live another day with a successful. The only thing that I may lose if I choose to lose, but in Africa, you have no much options. You have no much options. Lots of parents either to pay or to buy medication or to buy food. It is very painful. I have the access to the latest medication. It is free of charge, while it's all up in Africa. It is about willing, hoping, wishing, planning. We hope someday to have gene therapy or transplant. While we do this in Bahrain free of charge, paid by my government. Not only in Bahrain, in Saudi Arabia, Oman, Qatar, all these 5 countries will do the same. But let's take this behind and let's say about the journey, about the pain. When I born, doctors told my mother that I will die on before age 6. Then my doctor, in my age 18, he said, you'll not live more than 42. Now I'm 53. Me, like others, we shake hands with the death number of times. You share this experience with me. I have seen the lights, white lights enter into my rooms. And at that moment, I have no doubt that I'm leaving. So I say bye and thanks my doctors. And I ask to call my brothers. And he reached, I asked him to take care of my family and my kids. And I was hearing 10 times. I was seeing their souls. I don't see their bodies. Doctors, I mean. And I have 30 different doctors from different specialties. All of them, they were hopeless that I'm going to survive. But at the end, I survived. Why I survived? Because it was not my time yet. Some people said you'll not live more than 80. Some doctors will say you'll not live more than 40. Some doctors will not say you'll not live more than 80. It's not about how you live longer or shorter. Your journey is not about long or short. Your journey is about the content. I hear a lot about what is beyond our living is a mission. I'm lucky because I found my mission earlier, leading 9,000 people living with sickle cell in the Bahrain and leading the Arab countries who live with the sickle cell. We made a lot of achievements in Bahrain in the Gulf area about raising the awareness among the sickle cell. I was very lucky to find my mission. A lot of people, some of people will die and still they didn't understand why the purpose of their life. I think not only us who born with a challenge, even our mothers, our fathers, some of them, if I born with sickle cell, others they born with different challenge. The challenges or the disease sickle cell given us the wisdom, giving us better understanding, giving us that to listen more because we know the importance of listening.
Am I the only one having trouble hearing Dr. Zakaria?
Yeah, I'm not able to hear him.
Sir, your audio, we're
Yeah,
not
yeah,
hearing.
and
Okay, yes.
because maybe the battery of the Bluetooth gone. So sickle cell show me that our ability, the gifts inside us, either it is we are in Bahrain, in USA, in Nigeria, in Africa, in UK, each of us has a gift. Each of us has a mission. Our mission is the word. I have heard a word that reshaped me again. Today from this session changed me. The way you look at the pain, the way you look at your mission, the way you look how you do things, even with my experience, with my age, with my challenge, your word is reshaped me again, and you made me to think again what I can do more to raise this awareness or to be stronger. It's not, the life is not only about me, it's also about my children. If I lost hope, that means my family will lose hope. Your children, your wife, your husband, look at your eyes. If they found a warrior, they will be a warriors. If they found a hopeless in your eyes, they will be hopeless at the same. So you are responsible.
It's not about only sickle cell is knowing your disease. It's about knowing your responsibility. I knew my challenge, but my responsibility, that challenge comes with responsibility. Awareness is very important, but responsibility it is before the awareness. You should be aware, but aware with responsible. So myself today in Bahrain, I don't define myself, I don't represent myself as a Zakaria. So my word, my clothes, the way I dress, the way I talk, I represent that 9,000 people. So I don't have an option that I can fight others, that can raise my voice at others, or even if I am right and other mistaken, I will never raise my voice. I will never let anger to take that place. That sickle cell taught me about it. I don't represent myself. I represent all these community, sickle cell community, because of the stigma. Stigma shows that
Okay, I think we're having some technical difficulties with Mr. Zakaria. And one, we want to pray for him and for anybody today who is not feeling well with their sickle cell disease. Sir, if you can hear us, we are praying for your speedy recovery. And I want to quote some of the words you said. You said that we each have a gift, we each have a mission, and we each have a responsibility. And that makes me think of the advocacy part of our journey. And I wanted to actually go back to our keynote speakers. Zainab, maybe we can start with you. When it comes to advocating for sickle cell disease, you spoke in your remarks about how you've advocated at the highest levels of policymakers, but is there something beyond healthcare and changes related to that would improve sickle cell, the lives of those living with sickle cell? What would you say, something beyond what policy, social, and workplace changes? What do you think would most help sickle cell disease?
Okay.
Yeah.
No.
So it's something that I think is actually really pertinent to Nigeria in particular. So a lot of the global health concentrations I find is around trying to break the cycle. There's this big campaign in Nigeria about breaking the cycle. And what I really fear about that campaign is what it does to stigma and what it does to villainizing people, the community and the sickle cell community. And so aside from all like the policy stuff, aside from all of like the systems and everything, I think actually as a community and as a society, we owe it to each other to not other people with sickle cell anymore, and not to make out that it's their fault because they brought this upon themselves. And just yesterday I was speaking to a colleague and we were talking about kind of discrimination in emergency departments and what that looks like. And and we were speaking about this idea of like othering, and that it's always with sickle cell, it feels like sometimes people go in ready for a fight because they know it's going to be hard, and it is about us against our clinicians. And actually, I don't think that it's just about in the hospital rooms. I think it happens across all of society generally. It's always about us against them. And if we want to be able to tackle discrimination in workplaces, in hospitals, in schools, in all of those places, we have to first start with ourselves. And that means actually, rather than making it out like it is one set of people's problem, it's actually everybody's, and we all have a responsibility and a part to play in supporting each other and saying, okay, then this is the reality that we find ourselves in. How do we now go beyond that and support each other? The people who are already who are ill and sick and who are struggling, how do we support them? And then the people who are thinking about widening their families, how do we help them do that in a way that is sensitive and is empathetic, and it's about actually working together rather than against each other.
Thank you. Wumi, is there anything you'd like to add to that? And then I'm going to ask a question to each of our panelists.
Sure. I think the only thing Zainab kind of said a lot. I think the only thing I'd like to add is that when we look at diseases like cancer, right, we see individuals who have never been impacted with cancer, never diagnosed, championing the cause and raising awareness for it. And we just don't see that with sickle cell disease. And when you think about a country like Nigeria, where 1 in 4 have trait, I think oftentimes our trait warriors are leaving themselves out of this conversation when we should all be a part of this conversation. My brother has trait, my parents have trait, right? And this should be a familial, communal awareness campaign, but also level of support. Even those of our leaders in power, oftentimes you find out when backstories about their families, there is someone in their genetic line who has sickle cell disease, but that person has been othered or pariahed or the default sent abroad to get health care, while the general mass people who can't afford that level of privilege are left to kind of deal with, the lack of infrastructure in Nigeria and things of that nature. And so I just really, I cannot wait for a future where those with sickle cell trait realize that we are one and the same in this fight, because trait manifests in each individual differently. My mom navigated life with trait, not really having any issues until she became in her 40s. And that's when she started noticing the fatigue and some, level of pain where she said, is this a touch of what you experience? So I hope that like the way in which we raise awareness globally for cancer is the way we're going to raise awareness globally for sickle cell disease, because again, it is a global health issue. It's not just native to Nigeria or the continent of Africa just because we have one of the largest populations in the world.
Well put. Well put. Thank you. Dr. Michelle, I wanted to, because it looks like maybe you're able to speak again. Can you tell us if there's one thing in the healthcare system that you would change for people living with sickle cell disease? What would that be? Can you share with us?
I would actually say that maybe the response when you go into the hospital, there's a stigma with it. Then you go into the hospital and a lot of the care that you require is not immediately available. It takes a bit of a while. In the UK, for instance, when I went to have my kids, and as soon as they're checking you, there's a nervousness. In fact, for this, I remember being in isolation for a while and quickly moved to ICU. Everything is high alert. But as it was high alert, it also took them some time to make a decision for some really basic things that should be available, considering you have a file that tells you what the person has. So things like the pain relief, particularly, not okay, if you take it back to Nigeria where care takes a while, so they know you're ill, all right, but that conversation sometimes for me can be harsh. I am praying, and I know it's because information is not out there. I completely agree with our two main speakers today who say that we should probably have people who have traits come on board, because most times there's this stigma, so you don't have people championing that conversation. And what is kept hidden is not, when there's no enlightenment, simple care becomes difficult to get. And you will find sometimes, I remember a friend that I know well that died a sickler. She OD'd more on the water that ran through her system. They were trying to just run some fluids through her, and her heart couldn't take it because it came too quickly. So it tells me that a bit more care and a bit more information on how you treat the body of such a person that's already fragile is important. I'm praying that as we've started, I'm honestly happy to advocate any opportunity I get to speak on it. Please invite me, because at least I'm here. I'm happy to speak on it. I'm happy to attend events that lend a voice to it, that you can thrive, but you will need to know more. And if we can get more of ourselves into rooms where we teach basic health care, how to hear your body, when to wear that pair of socks and a cardigan and act like it's almost you're fighting, because a cold or a fever takes you out more than the regular person, and how to hear your body particularly and how to respond to it. I pray we champion that conversation, teach the kids, particularly the younger ones, that they're not alone. If I can cite a sickler from a mile off, from your eye, from your gaze, from the tummy, from your feet, and I normally will slide next to the person and say, hey, how are you doing? Are you all right? I have an affinity or a care for them, but if we had more of them in the room and they know, especially the younger ones, that you can be here for a long while. I know a 65-year-old sickler. I know them, and I'm glad they're there, but people don't talk about it. We're still hiding the conversation. So I'm praying that more of us get in the room. More of us get in. Thank you.
Well put. You emphasized the lack of emergency care and that consideration, and just it's so important. Oluwafemi, I know you've also wrestled with this. What is one thing in the healthcare system that you hope to change for sickle cell disease?
Thank you, Titi. One thing is, I would love the patients to stop being marginalized. We need the patient voice. We need patient inclusion, patient engagement, holistically prioritize lived experience. I work with a lot of professors, doctors, and health researchers, and they always include the patients in their research. But unfortunately, here in Nigeria, it is not yet that way. And it should be, because we have the highest prevalence. And to whom much is given, much is expected. Don't put us on zip. Don't help us to shut our mouths. It's not fair on you to on our healthcare systems to look down on the patients. I remember when I had a very, 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 very severe complication of this health condition. It wasn't just crisis. I was going into the theater. And for the doctor to look at me and tell me that he was in medical school for 5 years, for more than 5 years rather. And there were like 5 other winning warriors with him. And by the time he graduated, the 5 of them were dead. And I was just about to go into the theater. How will that feel? What does that tell me? Was it telling me that to survive, or just to help me get over what I was just going to face? So please, let us include patients in everything we are doing in Nigeria. Prioritize us, and also understand that no patient is the same. The way sickle cell manifests in my body is different from your body, is different from every other person. So know for the patients, know your body, understand your body language, understand what works for you, from medications to what you eat to your allergic reactions. Know what works best for you. I think that's the best thing I can tell my fellows.
Yeah. Amen.
Moderator, please let me jump in here quickly.
Yes.
Can I jump in quickly? So I
Yes.
apologize. And just to follow up from where Oluwafemi just left off, but to say just a word of encouragement that we've come a long way. Things are really improving, to be honest. And the guidelines Dr. Alayo spoke about does contain training and capacity building for health workers that includes a lot of empathy and socio-cultural issues and how they can address all these with patients, persons with sickle cell. Okay, so we've come a long way, but we have a long way to go. All right, so empathy is big. It's something that we're doctors, nurses are all getting more and more aware of how to deal with it, with our patients. So please, Oluwafemi, I want you to remember that, and also in the development of those guidelines, persons with lived experience were there. So it wasn't that heads were being shaved in their absence, or like I often say in Latin, nihil de nobis sine nobis, nothing about us without us. That is a maxim that's brought from the disability space. Nothing about us without us. So those with lived experience, that is a buzzword now. They're always part of what we're doing. So government of Nigeria is improving in that regard. Things are really, and in terms of longevity, I went to a 70-year-old's birthday party on Sunday, 70 with sickle cell, and not an easy sickle cell. So we're getting better and better. Protocol is improving in treatment. So just a word of encouragement there for everyone.
Thank
Over.
Thank you.
No,
thank you, doctor. And there's something you said you are doing. I think it should be more. There should be more attention on it, Dr. Annette. You
Yes.
said there's some. I've forgotten, but I wouldn't mind hearing more about it, doctor.
Oh, for sure. Thank
okay,
you.
if you remind me, I'll be able to share that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can I add something before
Yes, please.
you should? Yeah.
Please go ahead.
Yeah. Let me add something in this area particularly. What we found, my doctors, I did medicine. I studied medicine. I am a sickle cell, but I'm not a doctor. I changed my field. But from the sickle work, being as a patient and working for 20 years with the sickle cell communities, I found my doctor needs help. Care providers, either nursing or doctors, need my help. Sickle cell community. So sickle cell is not only a medical issue. The only attention, the only care I received from everybody left their responsibility except the doctors and the care provider nursing. Yes, we face some issues, challenges, individual here and there, stigma here and there, but doctor needs more resources. And this comes from the advocacy from the sickle cell community groups who go with the political leaders and bring more resources to the doctors. So what we found in Bahrain, medicine is only one factor, but we have multi-factors who play positively or negatively on the health conditions. Like we found 90% of these 9,000 people living with sickle cell in Bahrain, 90% of them, they rarely come to the emergency room. And they come like any other normal with no disease, no illness. Only 10% who come frequent or high utilizing the resources. With some doctors will misunderstand, will say, yeah, they are drug seekers or they are addicts. They are not. We found from our survey that these 10% or 90% of them, they are fit socially, emotionally, and financially. While that 10%, they have one issue or two issue or three issue in financially, socially, or emotionally. And from that, we work with the government, with the different ministers. So I don't work only with the Ministry of Health. I work with other ministries, Ministry of Education, Ministry of Interior, Ministry of Labor, Ministry with the government. So we bring more resources to our doctors. We bring more job vacancies. We change the environment of schooling. We change the opportunities for the sickle cell for higher studies, better policies for keeping these jobs, not to lose. So we have seen a lot of changes. When we start 20 years ago, the expectancy age was 42 in Bahrain. Today we are talking about 68. Why? Not only because we have the best medication, because we have the best political system, and we have all the resources. We bring that resources to our doctor tables. The job vacancy will not, the patient will not receive that job vacancy from the Sickle Cell Society, Bahrain Sickle Cell Society. They will receive it through their doctors. The scholarship, the microloan, they will receive it by the doctors. So the doctors will not only prescribe the medication, will prescribe, okay, we'll give you this medication and we'll give you an opportunity to start your own micro business or to go for scholarship, or let's find some job for you. This is how we improve the quality of life. And this is how we improve the understanding among the political leaders or the policymakers or the decision makers or the community members. Thank you.
Thank you. You touched on this big area of policy that's beyond thinking of health, but being innovative in how you improve quality of life. That's so important. And there's people even adding in the chat about insurance, about so many other ways to think about how we need to change things for sickle cell disease. Okay, we can be here for hours.
I will give you one only examples. Paid sick leave.
Yes.
How many days it is paid in Bahrain? You know, for sickle cell, how many days annually? 144 days.
Wow.
For sick leave, 20?
Sick
How many
leaves,
days?
yes.
Wow.
144 days. Yeah.
Wow.
Yes.
In a year,
paid.
that's half the year or almost half
let
the year.
Let me tell you how many, the percentage of using this patient, these 9,000, percentage of using this, the average is only 14 days. And some of the policymakers says, you don't need 144, let's take it from the policies.
That's
Said,
beautiful.
no, keep it, because our community, they felt safe. They felt they are protected.
Yeah.
So that's why they didn't rely on the sickle cell to leave they didn't find that sickle cell is not an excuse to leave their responsibility. They are a good fighter. They are a strong fighter. But once you made them giving them a surety that you will not fire them because of the sickness. So they are fine.
Well, we have a lot to learn from you, from Bahrain.
Oh, we do.
Oh,
we do.
System,
my
your
goodness.
policies.
And I want to, I have so many questions and we don't have enough time, but I want to see if there's questions from those listening. Do you have any questions for our speakers today? We have time for maybe one or two questions. And while we wait for that, I wanted to go back to Lekan. There's been a lot of discussion about what is our dream, what would we change for sickle cell disease in Nigeria. What would you want policymakers, healthcare providers, and the general public to learn today? What message do you want them to hear? Lekan, why don't we start with you?
I will say that. Don't judge me on that few 1 day or 3 days in my time in that year. I am not that man, or I'm not that person in my
Every day of the
weaknesses
year.
point. That is not my definition. I was sick at that moment, but this is not my definition. I am a good father, I'm a good employee, or a businessman, or a husband. I have 365 days I was successful. Only 5 or 1 week I was sick. Don't define me on that 1 week. This is most.
Thank you.
That's the part of the advocacy. So anyway, go ahead, moderator, sorry.
No, I was going to thank
You
him.
called for Lekon.
I feel the same way as you. Don't judge me for that one moment in time when I'm so much more than my illness. And Lekon, can you please add to this discussion?
I mean, concerning the policies and the things that I feel like the governments and organizations and institutions can do, I think almost everything has been said. And what I can just do is add to, for whosoever is listening, also is to just reiterate what Zachariah already said. It's like, yes, there are days when we feel pain, there are days when we are not feeling fine. We should also understand that there are days when we are happy, we laugh, we cry, we fall in love, we create music, we create things, we have dreams and aspirations. And our identity shouldn't only be limited to our diagnosis. I think that's what everybody should understand, including we that are warriors. We should not let anybody convince us that our future is small because of our genotype, or we're not able to achieve things or do things. Like, yes, we take care of ourselves, we can ask for help, but we should definitely chase our dreams. We should chase friendships. We should try and achieve whatever it is we want to achieve, because that's what life is. And that's what we should live, basically.
That is beautiful. That is beautiful. Thank you.
Hi, hello. Can you hear me?
There's a question, sir.
Can you hear me?
Yes, who is speaking?
My name is Tunde Afolabi.
Oh, yes,
Chairman.
Yes, please go ahead.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to butt in. All right, I've been listening rapidly. All right, and I said, look, I need to challenge everybody that is listening. Challenge, and the challenge is how many of us are willing to be sickle cell ambassadors?
Everyone.
And who is an ambassador, right? So the ambassador is the go-to person in your neighborhood where you live. So the program will be where you register with the Sickle Cell Center of your choice. Sickle Cell Foundation of Nigeria is one of the sickle cell centers that you could actually register with. And we would, have you as an ambassador in your neighborhood, that warriors in your neighborhood can reach out to say, I am sick, I don't know how to get to a hospital, all right? And you, as the ambassador, will say, I know just who can help you, and send the help to that person. Now, I've not really, thought out exactly how to run this, but what we're trying to do in Lagos State right now is to actually have a clinic in every local government council, a clinic where there would be like a monthly sickle cell retreat or outreach, where you can come for your medication, you can come and even see a hematologist, that probably be coming there maybe once a month. All right. So the idea is to have, to start with, some small islands and see how we can grow this oasis into a main, a continent. All right. But reaching out is not as easy as it sounds. And unfortunately, the facilities that are available, people don't even know that it's available. I had a sickle cell patient that died not long ago that they did not even know about BMT. Never heard of it. All right. So the idea of the ambassador, all right, and I probably get Caleb and Dr. Annette to develop this further to where, wherever it is that you live, you will become the ambassador in that area, and you will volunteer or agree that a warrior in that area can reach out to you should they need help. So that's my 10 cents worth. And I thank all of you. I'm not the one that is given vote of thanks, but I thank you for your dedication all day long. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman. That's super. It's something that's well worth, fleshing out. So we'll look at it.
Yes, thank
Look
you,
at it.
sir.
So, moderator,
And
over
thank
to
you,
you.
Dr. Annette. Yes, no, this was wonderful. And you have galvanized us. There are several people already raising their hands wanting to join this ambassador initiative. And so please, we are looking forward to seeing that in the future. I wanted both Bukola and Oluwafemi in the chat, if they can discuss organizations that can help patients, especially those that are going through surgeries. If you can put that in the chat. I wanted to go to another question about stigma in the workplace. There was a question, and maybe Iggy, can we give this one to you? They are worried about disclosing to their employer because what if that means their insurance will be more expensive or that they'll be treated differently?
Or they may be fired. That's we've seen a lot of
Exactly.
that.
Or they'll be fired, yes.
I don't know, Iggy, if you feel comfortable taking that one, or any of our panelists will have maybe one person address that.
I mean, I think it's difficult because depending on what is legally allowed to happen. So like in the UK, for example, with sickle cell, you fall under Disability Act, and it can't be the case that anyone should fire you or you should be dismissed because of your health. I know with Nigeria, we can have it's a bit more technical. Do we really have the laws in place? But don't feel discouraged and don't take it as a failure because you have advocated for your health. Should you be in that position, should it be a matter of dismissal, just know that that was not the place for you. Because truthfully, you can't be going through life with the struggle that is sickle cell and what it means to maintain that while reaching your goals. It's not on you to now feel like you need to be going through all your works and all everything you're trying to achieve, giving yourself the short end of the stick. So it's not wrong of you to be in positions where you are telling your employer, this is who you are, this is what you come with. What you then ask for is the things they can do to help you. It's not you saying you're not able to meet the targets they need. It's not you saying you can't meet what you've said you've signed up for. But the rules and everything in place needs to be bent for you. And you should, in more than one occasion, feel comfortable being able to say that and being able to speak up for yourself that way, should it be the case.
Thank you, Iggy.
And
Bukola,
you
please
can
go
always
ahead.
come to Sickle Cell Foundation Nigeria.
Yeah.
Just report to Sickle Cell Foundation Nigeria. And the federal government is actually putting policies in place that address all these issues. But more importantly is that they need to work hand in hand with the legislature so that there are laws that give bite or back these policies. Because if you flout policies, there are no repercussions, there's no punishment, there are no consequences. But if you disobey law, then you may go to jail. So those are the things we need in place: policies and laws that work together to ensure that this doesn't happen.
Amen. Amen. Bukola, please go ahead, and then we'll take Wumi.
Sure. I mean, I like, Dr. Akinsha is a high level policy person. But in practical terms, the majority of Nigerians work for small and medium enterprises, and the ability to enforce any kind of laws is so difficult, nearly impossible, right? And this is something, so I've been working with Foundation, Sickle Cell Foundation, and we've had several of these types of cases come up. Sometimes people get jobs, even in formal institutions like banks, and they go for the medicals, and when it comes out that they have sickle cell, their offer is rescinded, or for some reason, when they get to the final stage, they'll tell them, oh, the position is no longer open. This has happened in at least 4 different times that we've had to deal with. And realistically, it's really difficult to come at them with like a law or policy or say that this is actually illegal, because the job situation in Nigeria is so challenging that even people without disabilities or medical conditions are struggling to get jobs. What I would say is that practically for warriors, it is difficult for you to kind of go into it feeling like you can kind of finesse your way through it. And I say this as somebody that has tried to finesse my way through it, right? It's going to catch up with you. It is better that as much as possible, you're realistic with your employer about what your physical challenges is. I can give a practical example. Right now, I'm dealing with a leg ulcer, which means that and my leg ulcer, this is the second time I'm having it. It means that it's difficult for me to go to the office, right? And if I hadn't been transparent in the beginning when I got the job and said, listen, this is the reality of living with my condition, it can then become a case of, oh, so why are you suddenly not coming to work? So what I always tell a lot of warriors, as difficult as it is to get a job at the moment, it is better to be transparent in the beginning as much as you can. Sometimes it's not realistic, right? That there are certain types of jobs where they just might not, take you if you have sickle cell. And something that I really feel like a lot of warriors benefit from. I've been working as a mentor for a lot of young people with sickle cell, and sometimes they try to do certain types of roles, which I tell them that I know that this seems like something that is your fantasy, and I'm all for going for what you would love to do, but you have to be realistic about the limitations of your condition. Today you might be well and everything is great. Tomorrow you can have an infection and you're going to be in hospital for sometimes weeks, right? So being as transparent as you can with your employer is the best. Trying to be realistic about the kind of careers that you can do. And that is, again, in no way to limit you or to tell you that you shouldn't go after something that you're passionate about, but just being realistic about the fact that if it's a role that requires a lot of physical exertion, is going to be really difficult for you to do it long term, or there might be days where you might not be able to do it or meet your challenges. So what I would say is try and be honest as possible. Look for roles that you think realistically you can do within your skill set and within your physical limitations. And as somebody has already said, sometimes there's a job that just might not be for you. As painful as it is in that moment to lose that opportunity, it just might just not be the right opportunity for you. So that's how I would say a lot of warriors should navigate it. It's honestly not easy, but we just have to, keep trying.
Thank you, Bukola. And Wumi and Zainab, if you could briefly add to that, go ahead, Wumi, and then Zainab.
Sure, I won't repeat anything she said. I was going to recommend that warriors look for remote positions. So there are writing jobs in the US and UK that you could do, like either being a blogger. I mean, content creation right now is a billion-dollar industry. And so I think as warriors, we're naturally innovative people. We are doing exams and working from our hospital beds. And so I just really think what she said is, think of your situation and find a way to work around it. Reach out to organizations that are, I know for Sickle Cell Prodigy, I give preferential treatment to working with warriors because as a warrior, I know their limitations and I want to empower other warriors in a way that I wasn't empowered when I worked in Nigeria. I found more success working in the music industry than I did working for a media company that is part of a large bank. And that was because the team I worked with were younger millennials who were starting businesses. And so they were a bit more open-minded in their accommodation of my needs, recognizing that like I couldn't do tasks that required a lot of like physical effort, but anything with regards to like writing or working online or working at different hours of the day worked for my schedule. And so I just really want us to be really inventive in how we think of employment. And I think right now, earning in foreign exchange is the right way to go. So if you can find an online remote job where you can do it from the privacy of your home, my recommendation is go that route.
Go for it.
Thank you, Wumi. And what we're going to do, we're actually going to end with Zainab's comments, but in the chat, I would like each of our panelists to put in what is their hope for the next generation of sickle cell warriors. What is your hope? If you can write that in the chat. And Zainab, we're gonna bring us home with this beautiful panel.
Thank you so much. And mine was a very, very quick thought about being completely honest, because actually how it can come back to bite you in the end if you don't. So for example, with insurance, if you don't disclose your pre-existing conditions, then actually when you do need to use that insurance, they can completely just deny you completely. So you would have been paid all that money for nothing because you won't be able to get it in the end. So I would just say, as much as possible, like as as frustrating as it is, I think still make sure you're honest, and then it's about working together as a community to make sure that we can drive the change at a more policy systemic level, so that we don't have to have all of these barriers. But on an individual level, like everyone has already said, I think 100% transparency is the way forward always.
Thank you. Please, everybody give our panelists and our keynote speakers a warm hand. Show some love for them. Chief Afolabi and Dr. Akinshete, thank you for creating this beautiful moment for the sickle cell community. All of us have been inspired. We've been encouraged. And I know you have some special awards to acknowledge some special individuals. So I'm going to pass back to you. I hope we could do this again. I've already energized for
Time
next
was
year.
too short. The time has been too short for all that we have to say and talk about in this community. Thank you. Well, I'll do the vote of thanks later. But at this time, seizing the opportunity of the World Sickle Cell Day celebration, we're rounding it off with this virtual panel discussion. But to recognize persons who have been in this space, who have worked in this space tirelessly, and to present awards to them. And to do this is actually the former First Lady of Delta State, who has been a great partner to Sickle Cell Foundation Nigeria and a great supporter for the cause. Okay, she's represented here by Miss Onyi. Onyi, please, you can highlight Onyi. She knows what to do. She's going to read the citation of the awardees, starting with the late Miss Toyin Adeshola, who's receiving a posthumous Excellence Award. Onyi, please. And if you have any words from, maybe you're muted, from the First Lady, former First Lady.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Okay.
And to receive the award for, sorry to jump in, to receive the award on behalf, on behalf of the late Mr. Toyin Adeshola.
I can't hear.
We can hear you. Can you hear us?
Yes.
Okay, I can hear now.
Yes.
You said all along. I'm not sure what you had. I said, Onyi, please stand by. To receive the award on behalf of the late Miss Toyin Adeshola would be Miss Onyi, and she's representing the First Lady of Delta State, who's Dame Edith Okowa, a very strong partner of the foundation, and who has a foundation herself called the O5 Foundation, and does a lot of work around sickle cell. So Onyi, please take it away. To receive the award on behalf of late Miss Toyin will be Maureen Chekube. So Maureen, if you're here, we are going to just say a few words in receiving it after the citation by Miss Onyi. So Onyi, please take it away.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. Please, can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
All right. Thank you very much. I'm Onyi, and I'm representing Her Excellency Dame Edith Okowa, the founder of the O5 Foundation. She sends her apologies for not being able to attend today's meeting. And I just want to say it has truly been a very interesting and exciting meeting today, listening to all our speakers and panelists speaking about how they are thriving as sickle cell warriors and survivors, despite all the limitations they are facing. And when we think of this, we will see the reason why people such as our awardees today truly deserve the recognition they are getting for their work in improving the lives of people living with sickle cell disorder. And I'm honored to present these awards to them. The first award is the Sickle Cell Foundation Nigeria Posthumous Excellence Award, presented to the late Miss Toyin Adeshola. And this is in recognition of her outstanding courage, unwavering advocacy, and selfless dedication to improving the lives of people living with sickle cell disorder. Her legacy of hope and service continue to inspire generations. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
While the second...
Go ahead.
Can I continue, please?
let's have Maureen. Let's have Maureen respond, please, and then we'll take the second. Maureen, please. Maureen Nchekube.
Yeah.
Are you
Good
there?
morning, good afternoon, good evening. I don't know if you can hear me.
We can hear you loud and clear, Maureen.
Okay.
So you're receiving this.
Yes, it's such an honor to receive this on behalf of the organization for our late executive director, whom I've been, it's been such an honor to have worked with her for almost a decade. And this is well-deserved, I must say. So thank you, Sickle Cell Foundation Nigeria. This is not the first award you'll be giving to late Toyin Adeshola. And we thank you for recognizing all she has done in the sickle cell community. So apologies that our chairman couldn't be here to receive this award. And thank you again. Thank you, everyone. Great job.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. The second award is the Sickle Cell Foundation Nigeria Lifetime Achievement Award, and it is presented to Professor Ibironke Akinshete. And this is in recognition of your exceptional contributions to hematology and your lifelong commitment to advancing patient care, research, medical education, and improving the lives of people living with sickle cell disorder. Congratulations, Ma.
Congratulations, congratulations, congratulations. When someone saw this name, we said, this is Kparakbo, Dr. Akinshete. And it's recent though, I was not even the one who selected this name, but it just speaks to her excellence. And if you know her, you know she just stands for excellence. So please, I'm not saying she's my aunt, but I didn't select this. It was selected by an entire team. So congratulations to my dear auntie.
Thank you. The third
auntie,
award. Okay.
No, sorry. Auntie will have to respond if she's here, or somebody on her behalf. Professor Ibironke Akinshete, please. Are you muted, auntie? Professor Ibironke Akinshete, just a few words to accept your award. Okay, if she's not there, okay, there you are. Thank you, auntie. Just a few words to accept your award, please. We can hear you. We heard you just now. Okay. Hello?
Can you hear me? Can you hear
now,
me?
Yeah. Now we can hear you loud and clear. Please take it away.
Thank you so much for this award. And I congratulate you for this set you have set up. I learned a lot from people who have this condition, and I'm very, very happy that they are thriving. But I would like to add another word, not only thriving, but flourishing. And I pray that they will flourish and they will flourish. I also want to say that we need to, how do we take this to the grassroots level? I would like to appeal to you to say, this is very good for the people we deal with, but many of the people who suffer from this condition are from grassroots level. So think about them. It's the only way we can help them. Thank you very much, and God bless.
That's correct. That's correct. Thank you very much, Auntie Professor Ibironke Akinshete. Thank you so much for all you do and all you have done in the past decades for hematology and sickle cell.
Thank you, ma'am. The third award for today is the Sickle Cell Foundation Nigeria Lifetime and Legacy Award, and it is presented to Professor Olu Akinyanju, OON, in recognition of your visionary leadership and pioneering contributions to sickle cell care through decades of excellence in research, advocacy, compassionate service, and institution building. Sir, your enduring legacy continues to transform lives and inspire hope across generations. Congratulations, sir.
Congratulations, Rose. Professor Akinyoju himself is not here to receive it, so I will receive it on his behalf. So I'll just say a few words of thank you as well. And they say Akindukbe Areni in Yoruba, but this one I'm a Dukbe ni ara ao. Forget my Yoruba right now, but we must say thank you to Professor Olu Akinyoju, who is the founder of Sickle Cell Foundation Nigeria and the first chairman of the board, without whom we really wouldn't be here as Sickle Cell Foundation and all the work he's dedicated his life's work to sickle cell. So we really appreciate you, Professor Akinyoju. A small token to say that you are very much appreciated by the entire team and the entire sickle cell community. Thank you very much, Prof. Thank you, Onyi.
Thank you, Ma. Thank you.
Yeah. That will be all, right? Onyi? Yes.
Yeah.
There are 3.
Oh, yes.
So moderator, please.
Thank you.
So over to you, Titi, moderator, please.
Yes, thank you so much for those tributes, and thank you to those champions. And those awards are so well deserved. We are grateful. And now, as we wrap up, we would actually like to commemorate this moment. Thank you all for joining us. I wonder if the tech team can help us, if we can do some screenshots of our virtual participants. And maybe we can start with our host and guest speakers, as well as screenshots of those that have joined.
I think you've been doing that as the program went on.
Oh, wonderful.
So that's covered. That's
okay,
covered.
Wonderful.
Yeah,
Thank you. Thank you so much. And then I
We
just
can
wanted
do
to.
one last one now. We can do one now.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. And
Just tell us. Okay, so
you can
if,
do one now at the end. Okay, just do one.
Yeah. So all the speakers, Oluwafemi, Kola, let's see, everybody.
Is the screen good to show as it's showing now? Or
Dr. Michelle, Iggy, yes, Zainab Bumi. Let's
all the speakers captured individually? Tech team, please be sure of that. And the group together.
And there's do a drop down so you can have everyone. A drop down.
We've been capturing all along, so we can still capture now.
Right, go ahead.
A final one.
Yes.
Yeah, super, super. Everybody say cheese. Smile.
Cheese. Sickle cell.
Good.
All right, thank you. Moderator, you can take it away.
Thank you so much. I mentioned in the beginning that this has been an incredible honor. It's always good to be in a room full of people who see you, who understand you. I have felt seen today, and I've been inspired to continue to champion the cause of sickle cell disease. And I hope wherever you've been joining us from today, you also have been inspired in your own piece of the world, your own communities, to make the world better for individuals with sickle cell disease. We have experienced loss in our community, and it's painful, but we hope that the losses will inspire us to do better. So I'm going to end there and pass on to Dr. Akinsete for her closing remarks as well.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Titi Fashikbe. I don't know what to do without you. If you ever say no, I'll run after you. I'll come to Texas and catch you. But really, you've done this for so many years, and we appreciate you for every single year. We don't take it for granted. Thank you very much. To have to wake up early and accommodate our times. We appreciate you most graciously. So it's really to say, it's been a wonderful session. It's been a wonderful session. It's to say we're capturing all that has been articulated here today and put in a communique and sent to who? To government. Whether we like it or not, government is important because it's government that gives us direction and focus through their policies and plans and guidelines and so on. It's just that we say they must carry us along. And I'm glad to let everyone know, to reemphasize, they are beginning to do that, to carry us along as the community as they're going to be developing policies and all of that. Okay, so the other bit is I want all of us to join forces to talk to the legislature, to push, because I say we're not all politicians, but we need to be politicians. We need to be politicians to get things done. If you, in a country where government is so powerful like Nigeria, you don't need to be a card-carrying member of a party, but you can have influence. You know, I often say you need to have a seat at the table. If you do not have a seat at the table, pull a chair and sit at that table. You're not likely to get a chair, but if you have someone who sits at the table, who will listen to you, that is so important. That's why we have fora like this. So we articulate our mind, put things on paper, and make a determination of what we would like the legislature to do in relation to sickle cell. Again, we're saying government is powerful, so let's use that government power to help us in our community. That can only happen if we truly advocate. If we truly advocate and push and fight the policies are fair in the executive, the bills that are coming out that we know are not helpful to us, we'll push down. We want bills that will really support us. So let us write bills to the legislature so they come up with laws that will give bites to our policies. I think the executive arm of government has done well coming up with policies and guidelines, but those policies and guidelines are not well known. So it's us who are outside of government that will do the legwork and disseminate these policies and guidelines and ensure that, you know, if it's for management and treatment, that we carry it down to the primary healthcare center. That is where those are centers that are closest to the people. It's our work. We have to try and do it because we can't expect government to continue to do until our constitution is changed or amended. This is how it works, and we have to make it work for us. All right. So I just want to thank everyone with those few words, and very quickly to say the thank yous, the formal thank yous. Moderator, I can't thank you enough. Our chairman of our board for making time. Our chairman is in oil and gas. He's very busy. He's a very busy man. He took time out to come and declare our workshop open and also to contribute to the conversations. We really thank him. Our panelists, my goodness. I don't think I've ever had anything like this together in one room. I know sometimes I say thanks to COVID. It's COVID that can make me gather everyone in a room and hear your voices. Otherwise, you know, we'd have had a physical event. Since COVID, we've been doing a lot of virtuals, and it's thanks to COVID that we can do this and have this caliber of persons, you know, share your voices, but do not let it end here. As our moderator had advised, please put something down, as she said, for the next generation. It must not end here. And I also take up my aunties a challenge that what we're doing shouldn't just be for what may be considered for the elites. We must make sure we go down to the grassroots. And I may also add, many of you know that we did work in Kano recently. Kano has the highest burden of sickle cell in Nigeria. And we went there and we worked with the people. We went down to the grassroots. So we need to do that all over Nigeria. So we can really see we're in the forefront of this fight against sickle cell. So our panelists, I say thank you. And like Wumi said, I think I salute you too. Like, were you in the military? But I salute you. Thank you. To all participants who stayed and stayed to this time, my goodness, I doff my hat for you. I really thank you. And I think you must have benefited. And if you do have questions, don't hesitate to send by email or WhatsApp if you have our contacts. Please do that. And the tech team, thank you. I know I bombarded you a lot. Thank you for being there throughout. Our donors and funding partners who have helped us throughout this month of June for all our Sickle Cell Day activities, we thank you. Thank you so much. Our government partners, you know, we've said one of our key strategies in Sickle Cell Foundation Nigeria is public-private partnership. That partnership just has to work. That's the way things have to work in Nigeria. Government cannot work. Government, as we know it, cannot do it. But remember, we are all government, are we not? Government of the people, by the people, for the people. So we're all government. So really, I still thank Alaya from Abuja and Dr. Wellington from Lagos for coming in to say a few words during this event. The WHO in absentia, I thank them for also being supportive to us. All patient advocacy groups and civil society, I thank you for being present. Channels TV, quietly there, but I know you're capturing everything. Thank you, and I know you're going to move it forward beyond what's happening now. And that's the whole point, for the story to have legs and move on beyond the moment. Thank you very much. And thank the chairman of Channels and all staff of Sickle Cell Foundation Nigeria. I can't thank you enough. I'll still say that Yoruba proverb. Thank you very much, everyone. And okay, so some of our directors are here. I want to really thank you. Okay, all our directors that are here present, please, I thank you for joining. I wish I heard your voices. Mrs. Otaigbe, Mr. Funsho Bande, Mrs. Popola is here as well. I was hoping Mrs. Uwa will be here also, but I don't think she's able to join. She has conflicting assignments.
I am here.
There you are. Oh, Mrs. Uwa, I thank you. I can't thank you enough for all that you do for us. When we call you, you're always there. I thank you so much. I wish you were able to speak. Dr. Shehu, not Dr. Shehu. I don't know, our Kano people are here. Oh. Thank you very much, our Kano team. I think I see Professor Shehu. Thank you so much. If I've forgotten to mention your names, don't take it to heart, please.
I want to talk.
You. God bless you. God bless you all. Mr. Ayotaigbe, you want to say something? Okay. Please say. I cannot say no.
Oh.
Yes, ma'am. Please, ma'am. Yes.
I just want to thank everybody. It's very interesting what we have heard today. And I thank you, National Director Caleb, and all the people who have put in together. And our coordinator, is it from America? What's the name again? Bakari. I want to thank her for. Whenever
from the West Coast, though. She woke up at 4, so.
Yes, it's kind of her.
Thank you.
And thank you all so much. I pray that all that we have discussed here today will be able to get to the grassroots as the chairman has suggested. Thank you very much, Annette. You know what I always call you.
We'll take that to another level.
Yes,
so thank you all very much indeed. And with that, I think we'll bring this event to a close. Thank you and see you next time. Bye for now.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye. Okay, more images.
I talk.
Have you